commanding 3-2 lead. And we've got Knicks Celtics tonight, T-Wolves and Warriors tonight. No Steph Curry, so the Warriors trying to win one more to get it to at least Game 6 to get Curry back. We'll see. T-Wolves looking at it and saying, just win. Just win tonight, and it's over. You don't have to worry about Steph Curry at that point. So some NBA action going on. And tonight, starting at 6 o'clock, we have our NFL schedule release special for you right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It goes until 9 o'clock the first hour. It is the special hosted by Sterling Holmes and Jack Johnson from 6 to 7, talking about the games that we already know that the Chiefs will be playing in, as the rest of the schedule will be released throughout the night. And then Westwood One special will air from 7 to 9 o'clock with Scott Graham and Ross Tucker. Scott Graham. They will anchor the live coverage and break down the schedule and have different guests and analysts throughout the show as well. And we certainly appreciate the Bobside Auto Group. One name, 4 locations. Bobside Auto Group. Trust is the tradition. And Quad Power Products, providing top-notch hydraulic repair services for over 30 years. Sterling, you've been on a bro trip for the last 3 years. Are you aware that the schedule is being released tonight?
2 words. I'm back.
Yes, I did. I'm coming home.
I saw that on the schedule. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay.
There you go.
I get it. I'll get back into it,
Did you host
baby.
it last year? Did Jack host it last year?
I think I hosted it last year. I feel like I've done this a few years now.
There you go.
And, yeah, it's enjoyable. You go through, and I know we're still, months and months out from games actually being played, but now you can see when and where and start talking about hypotheticals. And, the Chiefs obviously went last year. I think it was so enjoyable to talk about because they were going for the three-peat. Mm-hmm. But now they're trying to make it 4 straight appearances in a Super Bowl. So how do they navigate that path? Mm-hmm. And that starts tonight.
We know right now of 5 games the Chiefs will play in. I think by the end of the day, we'll know at least one more with Chiefs and Bills whenever that is announced. Mm-hmm. 3:25 on Sunday on CBS whenever they announce that. The over-under, we put it at 8.5, Sterling. I think we're minimum going to get 6. I put the over. Or put the over at 8.5. I chose the over. Tysher went over on games that we'll know before you guys get on the air at 6 o'clock.
Fact. Yeah, I think over 8.5.
Okay. Over-under fact? Okay.
Over-under fact.
Over-under. I'm going to go fact on that one.
And
fact
it wasn't
under or fact over?
It wasn't a bro trip I was on. It was a...
Oh, okay, so you don't consider your father-in-law bro. Good to know.
Shoot.
No, good to know.
I guess technically,
Boy,
yeah,
I set
because
you up for that one.
was...
Boy.
I mean,
you
I walked into that.
You walked right into that one. I've been waiting for you to say that for the last 3 or 4
and then
minutes.
Nat's brother. So I guess technically there actually is a...
Wow.
Yeah.
You consider nobody there one of your bros. Oh, my. No, it wasn't a true bro trip for Sterling. He was there celebrating his father-in-law's, 70th?
70th birthday.
He didn't look a day over 69. I'm telling you.
I tell him that.
Absolutely.
All the time.
No doubt. So the 5 games we know of already for the Chiefs this year on the schedule, we know that they will be playing Christmas Day, Week 17. That's going to fall on December 25th this year. We know that they'll be playing, it hasn't officially been announced yet, but we know that they'll be playing Friday night in Brazil on YouTube, September 5th, against the Chargers. We found out this morning that they'll be heading to Dallas for Thanksgiving on November 27th, which was my bold prediction on Sunday Sound Off on Channel 41 with Mick Schaefer, and Blair Kirchhoff was there, and Matt Derrick, and we all gave our bold predictions as to what the schedule will be, a bold prediction on the schedule. And my bold prediction was that the Chiefs would play the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving in Dallas so that for the first time in a while, they can actually have America's team on Thanksgiving. So, I mean, it's very cool that this year they'll actually be telling the truth when they say America's team will be playing on Thanksgiving.
They should have, like, Vanna White spinning it. This is for America's game.
America's game. My brother texted and said, who will America be rooting for? And I was like, man, that's a real
no one.
That's a real Sophie's choice. Only it's not a Sophie's choice as to which one you want.
The turkey.
It's like, which one do you hate more? The Cowboys. Like, America might be pulling for the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Wow.
That's how much the Chiefs have become America's team. They are making it to where America's rooting for the Dallas Cowboys. But we know of that game as well. And then we found out 2 other games. One of those, we know when the Super Bowl rematch will be. And Jack Johnson and I talked about it yesterday, and we discussed the fact that it would make sense if that Super Bowl rematch was earlier in the year, because we had seen some Super Bowl rematches that happened later on, like Chiefs and 49ers last year happened at like week 7, and the 49ers, I think, were under 500 at that time.
Yeah.
They had some injuries, so it wasn't the buildup. Chiefs-Eagles the year before was like week 12 or 13, and it was like, is this a Super Bowl preview? Because both teams had pretty good records at that time, and then the Eagles fell off after that. The Chiefs ended up going and winning the Super Bowl. So we were wondering if it would be an earlier in the season to really take advantage of that being a Super Bowl rematch. And it makes sense with both teams playing a Thursday and Friday in week 1. They will play the Eagles week 2. The home opener for the Chiefs will be week 2, Sunday, 3:25 at Arrowhead on Fox against the Eagles on September 14th. And we know the week after that, they will head to New York for Sunday Night Football for the New York Giants home opener on September 21st. So we know the first 3 weeks of the season for the Chiefs. They will play the Chargers in Brazil, at home 3:25 against the Eagles, on the road at New York, Sunday Night Football in week 3. And we'll find out what week 4 is. Blair Kirchhoff's guessing that week 4 will be against the Jags, because his bold prediction was the Chiefs will play the Jags in September in Jacksonville, because that's what the NFL does. They send the Chiefs to 100 degrees in Jacksonville in September, and they'll have to go down and cover it, and it'll be the hottest and stickiest and 110% humidity, and it'll be miserable. So there's one more week for that to happen for the Chiefs to be on the road there on week 4.
I just still get so annoyed by the perpetual expansion overseas. The Brazil one, from all accounts, sounded like it was a nightmare last year. From all accounts, it sounded like it was a disaster. So why do you keep going back? Like, my point is, they're going to watch the games. Like, if you're overseas, like, if you watch, I don't know, European soccer, if you're, I don't know, I'm not a soccer guy. If you watch Manchester United.
Yeah, just name one. The first one that came to your mind.
Manchester United.
You watch a soccer to Man City United?
But if you watch them,
City?
You're going to watch them either if they come to America or not. That would be your team. If you're in Brazil, if you're in Chile, if you're in Peru, if you're in all these countries, if this is your team, that's your team. But why do they have to travel where you mess up the actual product on the field? Everyone keeps saying money. I can't imagine that the money is worth this for all the injuries that were sustained last year.
I would say I like the fact that the salary cap keeps going up when the Chiefs have an expensive quarterback.
But my point is, I would love to know, and maybe I'm completely off base here, and this is a massive reason why the salary cap is raising. I just can't imagine the monetary value is there. I kind of understand London to an extent, and then Germany, okay. But even those, I had a little bit of a pushback on as far as being like mainstays. Unless you're ever going to expand and actually have teams over there, which, oh my gosh, get ready for travel and the product to get even more confusing.
Well, they're sending Minnesota there back-to-back weeks this year.
They're in like Ireland and
London.
And then London. I don't get it. And if those are home games for you, for your season ticket holder, and I get that's why they had the 17th game.
Yeah,
I know. I get
one of the
that.
main reasons for the 17th game was to do that. Was that 9th home game would be, in some years, it would be an international game.
But after almost every time there's an international game, I just say, well, if they won that game or lost the game, I'm not taking much away from it because it was an international game. And then there's even more of these international games where you have to, at least for me, I go, I'm not taking much away because their practice is all messed up. The travel time is all messed up. You don't get your normal schedule. Well,
that's why if they're playing internationally for the Chiefs, I'm fine with it being week 1. Because, I mean, you got a couple of days to recover if you want to, if you need to recover or anything like that from playing on that Friday night. And then you got the Eagles coming to town. It's not like, they're not going internationally and then, having to go on the road somewhere else, which they don't do. If you go internationally, you either get the bye the week after, or if it's early in the season, they'll give you a home game.
Sure.
And that's sort of your choice. And so the Chiefs got both. They got a couple of extra days of rest for them, not more days rest than the Eagles, and they got their home game. we'll see when the bye week happens. I'm hoping the bye week is later on in the year. But it's about being on YouTube. It's internationally for them to increase the revenue across the globe for the NFL. But it's also that YouTube was a standalone game on Friday that wasn't a part of the NFL package, and so somebody specifically has to go not overseas, but has to go over the top of some of the other networks that want to purchase that game. And YouTube did that this year.
Sure.
And that's why they put the Chiefs there. Because they wanted to maximize their profits for that, for the Chiefs.
Oh, I'm not surprised it's the Chiefs. Yeah. I'm not surprised.
And if they're going to go internationally this year, it's a road game, and it's week 1. And it's week 1 when you play on Friday.
It's best case scenario for a overseas game.
Mm-hmm.
I would.
If you want to know a disaster next year, that's going to be an issue because it's in Australia.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be playing. They're going to be playing on a Monday it's a Friday, so they're going to be playing on a Saturday to play the game on a Friday. They're
Great product.
They're going to be playing on Saturday in Australia to play on Friday. And if it's a Friday night game to start Friday at 8:15, I think they would have to play at like 10:15 in the morning on Saturday in Australia, which I don't think is a big issue for the NFL because Australia has a lot of big events that start brunch time, whether that be rugby or cricket or things that sort of typically starting around that time. So it wouldn't be as if like, oh my God, like in America, hey, you got to be at the stadium by 9 o'clock in the morning to a game that starts at 10 o'clock. It would be a bigger deal here, I think, than in Australia. But still, you're having a team that's going to be playing on Saturday for a game on Friday and then traveling home after that. And so landing on a Monday, but it's really a Sunday or a Saturday. Yeah. I have no idea. My eyes have gone. I fall down a well. They go across. I guess go across. I don't know.
If product is key, if that's the key, this does not help the product.
Oh, product isn't key. Are you kidding me? It's not product. Isn't key.
I go with Zach Greinke on this one. I remember when Zach Greinke, one of my favorite quotes when he was talked about, how excited are you to play in Australia because they had the Dodgers were having their opening series in Australia. And Greinke goes, quote, I would say there's absolutely zero excitement for it. There just isn't any excitement for it. I can't think of one reason to be excited for it. Of course, the team had to then put out the Dodgers had to put out a thing saying, oh, no, we're all excited for him. We're all excited.
He didn't mean that, okay?
But,
it's Greinke.
I have to imagine that's what most the players are thinking. And maybe I'm wrong, and the players love these excursions. But
I don't know that they do.
It's not like it's a vacation.
But they like the increased salary, though.
They do. And again, that's what it comes down to for me is
the trade-off.
How much of an added monetary boost are these games? That's all I want to know. Because there's probably no way of really breaking that pie chart down.
It has to be a gain of some sort because the salary cap continues to rise and rise and rise and rise. And they continue to have these streaming products and these games that are overseas or, some are streamed. They continue to put the Chiefs on anything that they are going to start brand new.
But
Christmas Day on a Wednesday on Netflix, it's got to be the Chiefs.
Wouldn't
Black
doing
Friday,
this
it's got to be the Chiefs.
Tuscaloosa or doing it in like.
It's not going to increase the footprint though. I mean, we look at college football expansion. You weren't adding teams in the state that you already owned in your footprint. Like the SEC didn't go and grab. They didn't go and grab Clemson from South Carolina because they already had South Carolina.
Is Brazil buying? They're buying tickets to this one game. And it's not Brazil. I'm not trying to say like it's a certain country.
Yeah,
I know.
Crazy
I'm not trying to say
Brazil.
Like, I don't know. I don't understand. I just won't understand it until I saw an
I'm just resigned to the fact that it's happening. So it's like, to me, it's like, all right, so what are the international games? Here they are. These are the teams going there. Are people going to Brazil? Is it a huge travel vacation plan? Because I think it will be. I think there'll be some people that are Chiefs fans, Chargers fans that'll be heading to Brazil for September 5th to watch that game on a Friday and just, maybe make a vacation of it. If Missouri would ever play in the Maui Invitational, I may, head out there, see if work will send me.
Yeah,
and if not, then I may not head out there. Maybe I'm not going to go. I'm not sure. But that would be a cool trip to go.
Sure.
Like Seren talks about that when Syracuse plays in the Maui, that he and his family go to Maui and enjoy it, and it's a vacation for them.
Sure.
Like I would love for that. That'd be cool. I don't think I'm going to make the Brazil game this year.
Yeah.
I didn't make the Germany game a few years ago. That wasn't happening. So I get from that standpoint, I understand their logic behind it. And I know that they are incredibly committed to making sure they continue to have these international games.
And I'm going to be incredibly committed to pushing back.
That's fine.
I'm just going to be incredibly committed.
And I'm committed to being resigned to it and just like, okay, so
Dylan?
when do they play? Where do they play? Let's go.
What are you incredibly committed to?
Let's see what happens. The game.
Yeah, I'm you know me. I'm Rob Lowe with the hat on. I'm NFL field all the way. So
He's just wearing an NFL hat.
if we have one on the moon, I'll be for it.
God, that is so crazy. That is that's so. It's not crazy. It's perfect because that pull of Rob Lowe with the NFL hat on is just great because that's the way I'm going to think of Dylan from now on.
It's too bad Dylan's birthday was not that long ago because we should have bought him an NFL hat.
NFL Shield logoed hat.
Or the shirt. It's
just
cheaper
says
to just
NFL.
get that picture put on a shirt.
Oh, yeah, the Rob Lowe picture. That great.
That might sell.
We
That might actually sell.
Got to do that. All right, let's get into we'll talk with Joe Goldberg here coming up in about 8 minutes or so from now. So, briefly, as we'll talk some Royals with Joel, last night was a 5-minute, it was a crushing 5 minutes last night from Greg Weissert with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 10th inning, up 7-6, the Red Sox on the Tigers, and a runner at second because it's the 10th. He gives up a ground ball to the right side that gets through with Sweeney. The throw is late. They tie the game. They go to the 11th. The Red Sox with 2 outs and 2 strikes in a 7-7 game. Christian Campbell hits a 2-run shot, and you're like, okay, there you go. The Red Sox did it. And then the Tigers come in the bottom half of the inning, and they get a man on, well, plus the ghost runner, and freaking Javi Baez against Weissert launches one into left field for a 3-run home run walk-off in the 11th. His second 3-run home run of the game for Javi Baez. 5 minutes later, Paredes with a walk-off for the Astros. And what could have been a 1.5 games out in the American League Central for the Royals is 3.5 out in about a 5-minute span. Now, it's not actually a 5-minute span. The Royals had opportunities throughout the game to score more than 1 run. As they typically do, they give you 27 outs to score more than 1 run. Or, if the 1 run is enough, they only give you 24. If you score 1 run and they hold them to 0 and you're home, you only need 24 outs to get that. But they typically give you that. That's the beauty of baseball. It's not timed. It's not, time. You only had 15 outs. You guys just it took really, really long time. Time has expired here. Sorry. No, that's the NFL and the NBA. Baseball, you get those 27 outs regardless. You're just not doing anything with them. And that's the frustration, is that there are games when they bust out. You got 7 runs. You get 10 runs. You get 10 runs over there. You get 11 runs. And then you get a 1, a 1, a 2, a 0, a 1, a 1, a 2. And it's frustrating when you see what Chris Bubic is doing and you're not winning nearly enough of his starts. He's got a 1.6 ERA, 54 innings, 56 strikeouts. And as we said yesterday, MLB.com released their straw poll, 25% through the season, of the Cy Young Award, and Chris Bubic came in 8th. 8th. Chris Bubic from, is he going to be out of the bullpen? Do they really want to make him a starter again? To 25% of this 8th. And that might be undervalued.
Yes.
In fact, it is undervalued.
Yes.
The fact that he's 8th there. Because he hasn't been the 8th best starting pitcher in the American League this year. He's been the best starting pitcher for the Royals this year. Cole Reagans was ahead of Bubic, coming in 6th, and Seth Lugo was 12th in the rankings. There were 17 pitchers that received at least a vote. It just gets frustrating when you see that from Bubic and it's wasted on just 1 run. But while you were gone, Sterling, they did score 7 runs in a game.
Yeah, I watched the games, actually.
Yeah.
And Last night was very frustrating. The 1-1 run, one run was at 7, and then one run yet again. It's just the inconsistencies and a lot to get into here.
Yep. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk with Joe Goldberg. He is there in Houston. They've got the game coming up tonight, and then a day off tomorrow, and then the St. Louis Cardinals for 3 with a fun weekend celebrating 2015 and 1985. We'll take a quick break. Come back. Joe Goldberg next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Royals in action tonight, 7:10. Michael Lorenzen taking on Colton Gordon. Oh, that's a baseball name. Colton Gordon. The Houston Astros' 14th ranked prospect making his Major League Baseball debut. The Astros using a six-man rotation while they're in their 17 games in 17 days, and maybe moving Hunter Brown back out of the start against the Royals so he can start against a divisional rival. I don't know if that's the case or not, but they're throwing Colton Gordon tonight. Throwing us some of his thoughts right now is Joel Goldberg here in the zone on this Wednesday. Joel, how are you, sir?
Jason, how are you?
I am doing just fine. How's Space City? How's Houston treating you?
Space City is good. I just got my workout in and was outside before it gets disgusting out. So the way this is all planned out perfectly, you get your outdoor stuff in before it heats up, and then you play baseball indoors or watch baseball indoors tonight. It's going to be like 95 here today. It's gross.
God. So Monty's out on the course right now to get his golf in?
Monty might still be sleeping for all I know. I don't know. He's got this gift of being able to sleep in. I lost
Really?
that ability.
Well, kids and everything sort of take that. It saps it away from you. You have no choice, man.
That's right.
You got to be up. Joe Goldberg is our guest. Hey, does it hurt when Massey calls you guys old?
I thought it was hysterical.
Oh, so
First
good.
off, I'd like, on behalf of me and Ryan and Monty, to believe that he was only talking about Hudler. That's the first thing. I loved it. I hope he does more of that. Those are such fun moments. I've worked my whole career to never call anybody old. You just call them veteran. You just disguise it by calling them a veteran.
Right.
And then he just dropped the old like that. And he'll be one of those old guys one day too. But
Yes.
but that was fun. We'll have a good time with that for a while.
It was a great line too when he said, "Apparently, hitting it to the opposite field is worth more." It was so good. But it did look like a different swing from. And also, I'm glad Ryan brought it up last night. He was like, "Rex, to your defense."
Yeah.
You were just passing along the message that Massey said he was going to try to, work opposite field and sort of approach the pitcher that way. And then a changeup speeds up his bat and a great swing. It wasn't a loopy swing. It was a Massey line drive swing that had just a little bit of launch angle, and he got it all. Yeah. And it's like, oh, that's the Massey swing I'm used to seeing last year. That I haven't seen very often, and I'm hoping that it's close to him just getting back into that groove.
In Massey's defense, who really knows what HUD said or asked him?
So good point.
Let's just not forget that it's HUD.
Good point.
Not to throw HUD under the bus, but I'm not telling anybody anything they don't already know. So who actually knows what the conversation was? But the more important piece to this, beyond the humor of it all, is getting Massey's swing going in the right direction. I mean, if you think about it, they still, other than a game here, a game there, haven't really had a bunch of hitters all clicking at the same time. We've seen it for a game or two. And, I don't – it's not sustainable to be scoring 3 runs or less a night and winning on a regular basis, although with the pitching staff they have, it's more doable than it would be in other situations. So that, to me, is where they've won how they've won so many games. It's because they have pitching that enables them to score less offense. I know that sounds really basic, but there comes a certain point. I mean, this to me is a little bit more like the way you win in the playoffs, where you're probably not going to be scoring 7, 8, 10 runs and all of that. But can you win the game with 2 or 3 runs? But they've got to be able to consistently put up a little bit more. And you see signs of certain guys getting going in the right direction. I think Jonathan India looks like he's headed in the right direction at this point. Bobby's obviously Bobby, and it looks like Vinny's in a good spot too. But I still think that number 5 spot in the batting order is a critical one for the Royals. It's one that going into the year you said, okay, who's that extra hitter? Is it going to be MJ Melendez? Can Hunter Renfroe bounce back? Who is it? And it became Michael Garcia.
Yeah.
And he looks like he could be, in the early stages of a slump. He's not going to, there was a point last week on the homestand where I think for at least a brief hot second he surpassed Bobby Witt Jr. in OPS and both guys, and then I think at the end of that game, Bobby was over 900 and Michael was at 900. So he's come back down to earth a little bit, which is fine. Look, if Michael looks like he did in April and early May, there's your 5 hitter. That might not seem traditional, but it's working. But if he's not, you still need someone to be what you needed from MJ, from Renfro, and Massey certainly could be that guy as well.
Yeah, visiting with Joel Goldberg, and the Royals have a rubber match tonight against the Houston Astros. It's an odd thing that maybe somebody else can put pen to paper and look it up if it is more than anecdotal. It seems like when the Royals face a tougher pitcher, like, Skubal and the Tigers in what turned out to be a pretty significant win there to cap off that road trip. That was a rough road trip, but a good win to get back in the winning ways, and they've been on this stretch since then. But it just seems odd that every once in a while when they face against a guy that's unknown or a debut, like they seem to struggle, or here's a really good pitcher. Oh, hey, look, they had really good at-bats against him. And now Colton Gordon, great baseball name, goes tonight. Is that anecdotal, or is there anything to that, and maybe just not having the book on somebody or not seeing what the pitch movement does in person? Or for Colton Gordon, Joel, is a guy that's supposed to be incredibly deceptive. Kind of reminds me of the way that he's described as Bubic, that, he hides his pitches and deceptive and throws 90, but it doesn't feel like 90 because, you don't know what it is until it's a little bit later than some other pitchers. So is it a not having the book on somebody and not seeing how the pitches move, or is it just simply my own anecdotal thought of remembering certain situations?
I'm not just going to throw you under the bus. I think it's all of our anecdotal. It's just what goes into our head, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like the whole why is traffic always bad when I'm in a rush, right?
That's a good point.
Because you're more hyper aware of it.
That's a good point.
You mentioned Tarek Skubal. They scored 2 runs against Tarek Skubal in that game, and so.
But it felt like 5, because it was Skubal.
Sure, and they won, but
right.
Look at last night, what they did against Framber Valdez, and so there have been stretches over the years where it's like sometimes it feels like the best pitchers bring the best out in them, and I think that might be true. And again, this is anecdotal on my part, by the way, but maybe sometimes when you're pressing and you're struggling, you have no choice against someone like an ace but to simplify and try to, just try to be as basic and short and, opposite field as possible. And maybe it forces you not to overswing because, you have no choice against them when you're like that. So, I mean, that might be a little bit anecdotal, but I think it forces you to be on your game because you have no other choice. But look at the flip side of it too, Jason. I mean, because I've had this discussion with others and certainly, thought about it in my head every time it's come up over the years, the Colton Gordons or whoever they are. It's like, how come it always feels like you face someone for the first time and you can't do anything against them and they've got the advantage, but didn't seem to bother them against Ryan Gusto the other night.
Yeah,
true. And so I think it's anecdotal. I think that I could, if we looked at a list of guys that the Royals face for the first time or that are rookies or making debut or whatever over the last few years, I think we'd see a lot of mixed results. I'm sure that the Tampa Bay Rays are saying, man, it feels like anytime we face a Noah Cameron, we can't do anything, right? And they're saying, well, we didn't really know much about him and we couldn't see him, and then the next time. So I do think it's anecdotal. I think that typically what you hear from most managers in baseball when you're facing someone like a Colton Gordon tonight is we've got plenty of video on him. We've got plenty of people that have watched him in the minors, and it's not like the old days where they're coming up from the minors and nothing existed. They've got video on all of these guys, and quite possibly there are players that have some history with him at some point along the way in the minors or amateur baseball or something like that.
Joe Goldberg is our guest. I am not saying Wade Davis because that's rarefied air, and that's that can be blasphemy to some. But Urseg is the closest I've seen to when it was just automatic with Wade Davis. I mean, the only inherited runner he's allowed to score was the other night when it was too slow of a roller to third to keep the guy from scoring from third with 1 out. Like, he got such weak contact that it allowed the run to score. Did Urseg. He's allowed 1 earned run this year. He's got 13 holds on the season, utilizing him in that fireman role. I mean, you can't say cyborg because of the obvious, but it feels Wade Davis-esque when Urseg is on the mound.
Yeah, I think maybe the only reason why we're hesitant to say it's not Wade Davis, I mean, I guess 2 reasons. One, we haven't seen enough of it yet. And, Wade Davis and all of his stuff came during championship years, and so it just, it's going to hold more weight in our minds because of what the end result was. And yeah, I mean, he doesn't look like the cyborg, and it's different stuff. But whether hitters fear him less or the same way as Wade Davis, the results are the same. I think what's most interesting about him in this bullpen right now is the way that they're utilizing him, and it's you can't ever win as a manager, and by the way, I'm not aware of any manager that's trying to please the fan base or social media in their decision making. They're doing what they believe is best on that night and long term for the organization. But to me, one of the safe or easy parts of, like, when you have a defined, this is my seventh inning, this is my eighth inning, this is my ninth inning guy, you put him out there, and if it doesn't work, hey, it didn't work. But there's really not a whole lot of second guessing, bringing in Wade Davis to close a game or whatever, until it doesn't work enough, and then suddenly nobody wants. Look, nobody was clamoring for more Wade Davis or Greg Holland the second time around when they were towards the end, right? So it's always going to be, what have you done for me lately? And when you blow a save, it's why did you put him in there? But I think that the challenge, it's not even a challenge, but the risk for Q in terms of just what fans think, which again, I don't know a manager that cares about that, is that he's going to be second-guessed anytime, say, Carlos Estevez gives up a run or even has traffic and doesn't make it look as easy as Lucas Erceg. And so I hear a lot of people saying, well, why isn't Lucas Erceg the closer? But the flexibility they have with Lucas of bring him in the seventh, bring him in the eighth, bring him in. You can't bring him in every single inning, right? It would have been nice to have had him back again for the ninth last night. How do you second-guess John Schreiber with the numbers that he's had? He's given up 4 runs on the year, all 4 solo home runs. Unfortunately, last night's is the one that beat them. But to me right now, they've got such a luxury in Lucas Erceg because they can kind of time out when they feel like it matters, lining up for the middle of that lineup. And that's what they were able to do last night. They brought him in the 7th inning for the bottom of that lineup, I'm sure with the thought that as long as he has a quick inning, we can bring him out there for the 8th to face Jeremy Pena and Jose Altuve and their big boys, and that's exactly what happened. And then, of course, he ended up getting one out without throwing a pitch on the pickoff, and suddenly he gets 2 outs on a couple of pitches and inning over. So that worked out really well. And to me, the only decision in the 9th was going to be, do you go with Schreiber, do you go with Estevez, and just didn't work out last night. But I think that Erceg could easily be closing games, but it's such an intriguing piece because you just sort of map out, when you want him to go. I mean, now the question is, if the middle of the lineup comes up in the 9th inning, is he going to stick with Estevez? Like, is Erceg more of just, pick your spot in the 7th or 8th, or do you hold on to him for the 9th? And I'm not sure. But the other thing, too, Jason, is when you look at Estevez, he looks really comfortable out there. Like he doesn't seem to flinch when he does get traffic, and he's not like one of those guys that every time he comes out there he loads up the bases and walks 3 guys, and then somehow he has the Houdini to get out of it. But he does seem to have something that he needs to get out of most times, and he does. Like as Monty would say, who cares if it's 3-1 and he gives up a run? Did you save the game? And he's done that a lot.
Yeah, I mean the 2 blown saves that he's had this year, the Royals end up winning one of them. The other one was when he gave up the run in the 10th inning at Milwaukee, which was a ghost runner. But the other one, the one that we remember, was the one against Colorado, which could have felt disastrous, but the Royals ended up coming back and doing what they did. But you're right, even when he gets runners on, he looks comfortable. I've evolved in my thought process around Erceg and Estevez. I was incredibly skeptical to start the season of Erceg being moved around and Estevez being the 9th. My view being, man, just use your best guy in the 9th and close the game. But what we've seen Erceg do, and his ability to be comfortable as well, coming in with runners on or a clean inning against the heart of the order, and watching Estevez in a Royals uniform, not just watching him in an Angels uniform or somewhere else, watching him in a Royals uniform, I'm like, okay, I have confidence that when Estevez is out there that he's going to get the job done. And I have supreme confidence when Ursig is out there. It's an incredible weapon to go to somebody in the 7th or the 8th and say, I'm facing 3-4-5 with a guy that has allowed 1 earned run this year, and only 2 guys have crossed the plate when he's been on the mound this year in his 20-some-odd innings. That's a weapon to have that other teams I don't think have. And so I've evolved in my I'm cool with it in what we're seeing from Ursig because it's working. That helps, right? As you've talked about, it helps. But it is also because Estevez is doing his job.
Yeah, I think that, and I get it. I think that there's always going to be second guessing in a bullpen. The easiest part for Ned Yost was that nobody was going to second guess HDH, right? Sure. I mean, it's just like because they all did the job, so who cares? Like, the 7th, 8th, 9th, and even the 6th with the 3 of them or Ed and Hochevar. The 3 or 4 of them were going to get the job done almost every time. I mean, it was over. I remember one of those years talking to Big Poppy David Ortiz about it and saying, "Hey, what do you think the Royals' record?" He brought up the bullpen to me, and we were just BSing, and he said something like, "I said, oh, well, how many times do you think the Royals have blown a lead when leading after 5 or 6, whatever it was? They played 60 games," and I'm like, "What do you think the record is?" He's like, "I don't know, 54-6." I'm like, "No, it's 59-1." And he gave me a get the blub 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 out of here with a big smile on his face. It was like that was the. I'm not taking away from Ned, but I think Ned would say too that was easy. He's got the 6th, he's got the 7th, he's got the 8th, he's got the 9th. There's some more decisions that need to be made here because it's matchup based. But I just think that Ursig gives you so much flexibility, and I also think it's worth pointing out what the rest of those guys are doing. Yes. And you've got some guys now. Like Daniel Lynch, to me, looks like a guy that you could put in the 7th, 8th, the 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th, and he can get lefties or righties out. But if you've got a situation where you've got multiple lefties, if last night it was say 2 of 3 lefties coming up, and it's not Paredes, but it's a lefty in their lineup, I don't know, maybe you go to Daniel Lynch instead of John Schreiber. I don't know, but you've got the flexibility with Lynch. Schreiber looks great in spite of the home run last night. He looks better than he did last year, and they don't need to use him as much, so that should play out really well. Steven Cruz has looked great, gave up his first run, of course, on the night that I interviewed him because that's the baseball gods telling me that, that's your fault. But it always works that way. But Steven Cruz looks great. I think that we still need to see more before you know he is a late inning guy. But Steven Cruz looks the part of a guy that could be a 7th, 8th, 9th inning guy. And Angel Serpa's been struggling. He struggled, but he seemed to be maybe getting a little better, then struggled again. And so, you have a little bit of the luxury of being able to let those guys work in lower leverage situations and figure it out up here instead of having to go back to the minors. And I think it just gives Q a lot of weapons, and so you're seeing some other guys emerge. You can't just have this be the Ursig and Estevez show, and it feels to me like you've got a group of 4, 5, 6 guys that should be able to help with that.
Yeah, this pitching staff, we had a discussion last week about when's the last time you felt like this pitching staff was that good, top to bottom, starters and bullpen guys, and we discussed 2015 or 2014 even, and whether it be like the late 80s and early 90s of Sabes and Gubazah and Appier, and then you got Flash Gordon and Monty in the bullpen, as the 8-9 guys, and it's like thinking of those teams, I'm like, I think this top to bottom staff is the closest to, in my opinion, in my lifetime, since the Sabes, Gubazah, Appier, Monty coming in and closing it out with 35, 40 saves or whatever, and a team that would win 88 to 90 games. And 2014 and 15 certainly, but because of the bullpen. But I guess 2014 starters were pretty darn good too because of Ace and what Duffy did, and James Shields. Maybe not 1 through 5, but that 2014 starting staff was pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean, this feels better to me rotation wise. I think just because of 1 through 5, Michael Lorenzen's going tonight, and I don't think anybody would suggest that he would be the number one or the number two on the staff. But if just currently, right now, as things are at, they'll change over the year based on injury or slumps or whatever. But I mean, if the playoffs were starting tomorrow, and you were to say, based on usage of everybody else, Michael Lorenzen starting game one, I don't think you'd feel bad about that, right? I mean, like, there's no one in. I'll put it this way: there's no one for me in the rotation when their start date comes up where you're like, oh no,
yes,
or
exactly.
oh boy, I don't know what we're going to get. Doesn't mean they're going to have
Better
a
get
good
7
day.
tonight. Better get 7 tonight if you're going to win.
Yeah, I mean, look, he could go 9 tonight. He could go 1 tonight. That's baseball. But I feel like you have 5 reliable guys, and if the guy with the biggest question mark has statistically been your best starter in Bubic, and actually your opening day guy is the one that seems to be a little struggling just the most, not a lot, in Cole Reagans, and maybe that does make some sense timing with the start that he missed in the groin and that. But if that's where you're at right now, and you pretty much know what you're getting from Lugo and Waka every single time, and it's not just hey, here's 5 innings. Michael Lorenzen said something to me that was, or not to me, but post game we were running it after his last start, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically expressed his appreciation that Q and Sweeney let these starters go deeper into the games and let them take the load off of the bullpen. And for years we have heard about, pitching's not the same as it was back in the day, and they don't let anybody go deeper, and everybody's worried about protecting arms and babying arms and all that. It feels to me like the Royals, and it shows you have to have the right guys to do it, but it feels like the Royals are trying to push more than most teams, and they've got the ability, or they've got the right starters that can be pushed to go deeper in games, which makes for a better bullpen, and you just don't see that as much. I mean, you used to call it five and dive, and we used to mock the fact that a quality start. How is it quality if the guy only goes 6? Now it's celebrated when a guy goes 6, and if they at least go 5, it's a decent start. And for the Royals, it feels like if their starters go 5, it's not a great start. Or in the case of Cole Reagans, and they'll continue to work on this, it might be a pitch count thing because of all the strikeouts. But when their guys go 5, it's generally under what the expectation was, and I think they've changed the expectation, they've raised the bar, which I think is really good.
Last one for you, Joel. We'll let you go. How cool do you think this weekend will be? I would love to be out there. Little man's got a baseball tournament up in Cedar Creek up in like Parkville, but whatever. So I'm not going to be out there. But how cool is this weekend going to be with 85 and 2015?
I think it's just cool to have both together, because you know that most of those guys on that 85 team were fans of the 15 team, and you know that most of the guys on that 15 team only heard about what the 85 guys did before them, and so you have this meshing of generations. But I also think, and I don't know if fans would care about this or not, but I think we're starting to see it with the Royals alumni and some of the events that we're starting to see a lot of the guys are going to spring training and all that. We're starting to see the Mooses and the Haases and Gordos and Wade, that a lot of those guys are starting to come back and get more involved. And so that'll put them in that fraternity with guys like George. I mean, everybody knows George, of course, but all of those alumni that are so active here in the Kansas City area. I mean, it's a different generation to the point where most of those guys from the 80s, not most, but a lot of them, stayed and never left Kansas City. And now we're at a generation and the Hosmer generation where they made so much money that they were only going to live here for half of a year, and so they didn't settle in Kansas City. But I think that there's this great, fraternity, and you're going to start seeing all these guys, beginning with Gordo, going into the Royals Hall of Fame. And so I just think it's cool to see the meshing of those two generations and those two, truly celebrated, historic, iconic Royals teams with their own unique stories and their own, different relationship with the fans and the generations of fans, right? The generations of families. I mean, there's a generation of certainly Gen Z, but of millennials that all they ever heard about growing up was 85, but they never experienced winning. Then they got to experience it as fans themselves. And so to me, it's just really cool to see those two come together as one, and the stories will be flying this weekend.
Joel Goldberg. Joel, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. Have some fun out there tonight. Safe travels back here to KC, man.
All right, appreciate it, Jason. Good talking to you.
Absolutely. There's Joel Goldberg. Royals return home. The Cardinals 3-game set this weekend. I don't know what complex I said we'll be at, but it's not where we'll be at. I don't know what I even said, but anybody wants to bring a bobblehead or something up to Creekside this weekend for the Saturday, Sunday, Friday, whatever, and just drop it off. That'd be cool. You're a real nice fella.
I'll bring you a random bobblehead.
That's fine too. I'll take
just
it. Just
a random one.
Hey, beggars, choosers, all of that stuff. I'm not.
I have a Frank Reynolds is always sunny in Philadelphia one. That's a good one.
I'll take that one for sure, man. Yeah, I would love to be out all 3 games this weekend: Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That'd be great. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone right after this. right, thank you to Joe Goldberg. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. A lot of stuff still getting to as we talk a little more about the Royals. Rubber match tonight. Colton Gordon, Michael Lorenzen. Looking at the starting staff. Rough night last night and the offense. That continues to be the conversation that we've been having, but I don't want to just continue. The offense sucks. Well, we know it's struggling.
Joel had a great point, though, as far as even like Michael Lorenzen, who's the Royals' fifth starter, you still feel comfortable with him on the mound. There's no guy that you're like, oh, this guy, he's the starter tonight?
Well, yeah, it's like, what would the Royals' number be if 1 through 5 is traditional 1 through 5 and you added up those numbers and it's 15? Like, what do the Royals have? A 1, a couple of 2s, and a 3? Like, what would that number be? All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels heading up until 2 o'clock. So what's the number for the Royals then? If 1 through 5 traditionally, a traditional number 1, a number 2, a number 3, a number 4, and a number 5 in a rotation, comes up to 15 points.
Yeah.
The lower the better, because if you had 5 aces, you would have a 5. I'm going to give the Royals an 11. I'm going to say the Royals have a 1, 3 2s, and a 4. With more time, I'm willing to take it from 11 to 10 to where I'd probably give them a 1, a 1.5, a 2, a 2, and a 3.5, which would drop them to 10 as opposed to a 1, 3 2s, and a 4. The 4 being Michael Lorenzen, even though he's got a 3.5 ERA this year. I'll still put him as a 4. The 1 being what I still believe is Cole Reagans, and how good he can be in the stuff that he has. And then Lugo, Bubic, Waka, it's a pretty legit number 2s. I mean, Bubic is a 1.6 ERA. Lugo finished second in the Cy Young last year, and Waka for the last year and a half for the Royals is, a sub-3, 2.5 ERA. That he has. And not just this year. I mean, the second half of last year continuing on over, carrying over into this year. Like, I think those are a pretty legit 2-2-2, and then, Lorenzen being a 4. I'm going to go with 11 right now.
Yeah, it's tough because if we're using Chris Bubic for what he's done this year, then you almost have to use Cole Reagans for what he's done this year.
Nope, I'm using Cole Reagans of the history of Reagans in the last year and a half. Or 2 years, I guess. So the second half of 2 years ago, all of last year.
No. And that's I'm going to use the same thought process.
I'm using
here,
it in my
I guess.
advantage. I'm using both of them to my advantage. Chris Bubic this year only.
Yeah.
And Cole Reagans, what he was last year, finishing, number 3 in the Cy Young, and being, number 6, a quarter of the way through the season. According to MLB.com and the 37 experts that they asked to rank 1 through 5, their Cy Young, and then added up all the points, Cole Reagans finished 6th. Okay, well, that's a true number 1 if you're finishing,
And by the way, the underlying numbers, take a drink, underlying numbers of Cole Reagans have been phenomenal.
Oh, really?
His
Okay.
expected ERA is a 2.3. He has a 4.2. His strikeout numbers are not even for starters, but like if you use relievers even, including them, his strikeout percentage is ridiculous, 14.4 per 9. I mean, that is closer strikeout numbers.
You're saying he should be a closer. Interesting. Okay.
No, but the point remains that I think the Cole Reagans inflated ERA right now is not what he has been or what he's going to be. I don't think there should be any concern necessarily for Reagans. So I'm going to still use Reagans as a 1. Lugo, I think, is an obvious 2. Lorenzen, I will go with a 4 still, although he's kind of on that 3.5 cusp. But I want to see a little more from Lorenzen overall before I move him into that 3 range. I'll keep him at a 4. Michael Wacha is interesting because I think if you just said the name Michael Wacha over the past, 10 years, you'd say, oh, yeah, he's the definition of a 3.
Good number 3, yeah.
But I think he's earned his way into that 2 role. He's been really good the past pretty much 4 seasons now. I will say Michael Wacha is a 2. I just think that the name almost conjures up the 3, but I think he has been a 2. So that's at 6. I'm at a 7. Right? And I have no. That's a 6. That's a 8.
I have no idea. You tell me.
Lorenzen's a 4.
Why don't you write it down?
Walker's a 2. That's a 6.
Use a pen.
Lugo's a 2. That's an 8. Reagans is a 1. Which makes me a 9, which leads me to...
You are not a 9. You are not a 9. I know you think... You look in the mirror and see 9. You aren't anywhere... You're not anything over 8 3/4.
Well, if you can't tone it, tan it, and that's what I tried doing in California. So we tried. Chris Bubic, then. So that leads me to Chris Bubic, I guess. He's been a 1 this year, right? A 1.66 ERA. Strikeout numbers are great. I need to see more, though. I'm almost hovering. You know how you were hovering almost as a 1.5? I'm more of a 2.5 until I see more. 54 innings for me is just such a small sample size. I'll give him a 2, I guess. I'm also at 11 with you. Underlying numbers are good, not great. I'll go 11 with you.
I like that. 11, bordering on 10 for me.
11.
Yeah.
I'm 11, legit 11. I think almost bordering on 12.
So last 25 starts for Waka, putting quick pen to paper, not just in my mind. Quick pen to paper. The final 16 starts last year for Michael Waka and the 9 starts that he has this year. He has a 2.8 ERA for the Royals.
Man.
In 25 starts.
He's been so good.
2.8 ERA in 25 starts. And in those 25 starts, he's pitched 145 and 2/3 innings. So it's not like, well, he's got a 2.8 ERA because he's going 4 innings. He's going 5 innings. He's not pitch efficient. He's not pitching deep into games. Well, I mean, if I do the quick math there and see how many, so he's averaging 6 innings every outing. So,
Man.
I mean, the guy is showing up. He's throwing at least 6 innings, and he's giving you a 2.8 ERA.
He's just gotten so much better as he's aged in baseball. I mean, he went from being very inconsistent. He came up hot with the Cardinals, right? 2.78, 3.2, 3.3, and then things somewhat went off the rails. 5, 4, 3-2, bounced back, but only in 15 starts. Then 4, 7, 6 when he went to the Mets, trying to revitalize his career. 5 in Tampa Bay. Then he went to Boston, and he really did have a revitalization with a 3-3, then a 3-2 in San Diego, and then 3-3, and then a 2-9 this year. I mean, I just think people have not necessarily understood or realized how good Michael Wacha has been since he, again, left Tampa Bay of all teams and revitalized and rejuvenated his career.
Yeah, he over the course of like 31 starts, because I'm looking at those 25 starts of a 2.8. Over the course of 31 starts, it'd be roughly 190 innings and a 2.8 ERA. I mean, that's a 2. I mean, I think
it's a hell of a 2.
I think every single rotation in the league, all 30 teams would say, all right, my number 2 is going to give me 190 innings and a 2.8 ERA. Okay. There are plenty of staffs that'll go, yeah, that's our number 1. Yeah, that's our guy that goes out there and we go, okay, we feel good. He's going 6 innings and he's given us a pretty decent chance of winning this game out there on the mound. And that's what Waka's doing. Bubic has pitched brilliantly. Seth Lugo is still Seth Lugo. I mean, the one that's not putting up the numbers is Cole Reagans. He's putting up crazy strikeout numbers, like you said. 3 of the last 4 outings have been rough for Reagans. And I don't know what's going on, but he has simply just not been good in 3 of the last 4 outings.
Do you have any concerns of, we can get to the offense in a moment here, but do you have any concerns of the pitching staff taking a step back? Like, I'm not saying Urseg or Estevez. I'm strictly speaking the starting staff, because what they've done has been nearly historic of how good they've been.
I don't think Bubic is a 1.6 ERA guy.
Well, yeah.
So I think he'll take a step back. But, and is Lorenzen, a 3.5 guy? Is he a guy that's going to give you 3.57 over, 28, 29, 30 starts? I doubt it. But if they slide back, Cole Reagans also isn't a 4.2 ERA guy. So
True.
then if they slide back, do you start getting more dominant where you saw Cole Reagans of 5 innings, 10 strikeouts, 6 innings, 11 strikeouts, 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, all giving up a total of 3 runs in those 3 consecutive starts of, 19 innings, 31 strikeouts and 3 earned runs, and 2 walks total in that time? Like, that's, I'm not saying that Cole Reagans is going to be, back-to-back double-digit strikeouts, no walks, and throwing, 14 innings and, 2 earned runs. I don't think he's Randy Johnson, but I think he's closer to that than he is the 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 9 base runners, 3 innings, 4 earned runs, 5 base runners, 4 innings, 5 earned runs, 9 base runners. Like, those are 3 of the last 4 starts. He threw in there against the White Sox 5 innings, no earned runs, and 11 strikeouts and 2 walks. He threw that one in there as well with the 94 pitches. He hasn't been as pitch efficient and he left one of those games with a hamstring and then missed a start and all of that stuff. So I don't think this is Cole Reagans. So if we say that Bubic and Lorenzen are out over their skis in terms of their numbers, well, I think Cole Reagan's is well behind in what I believe his numbers are going to be this year, the back of his baseball card. And it's a shorter number of there's less ink on the back of his baseball card.
Sure.
Than Michael Wacha and the ink on the back of his baseball card. And Seth Lugo is pitching right at what he did a year ago. 3 ERA, 56 innings pitched, leading Major League Baseball in innings pitched so far this year. He didn't lead Major League Baseball in innings pitched, but he had 206. He led Major League Baseball in batters faced last year with his 3 ERA and 33 starts. He's doing exactly what he did last year. And if we consider that a number 2, okay, so that's a number 2 because he finished second in the Cy Young. Some would say, number 1, but that's a number 2. Well, then we're talking about Michael Wacha over 25 starts having a 2.8 ERA.
Yeah.
And going 190 innings over over what would be 32 starts. It's 145 innings in those 25 starts.
What is even funnier with Seth Lugo is not just the ERA and the innings and the strikeout numbers and the percentages, but the WHIP is the exact same too, 1.09. Last year and this year, the exact same WHIP.
That's crazy.
And it is interesting because he's a guy who has really done a lot better than the underlying numbers. The underlying numbers, I know people are going to hate me saying that.
I tell you what, if you took a shot, if you played a game where you took a drinking game with Sterling saying underlying numbers, by noon, you wouldn't be able to drive.
Just trashed.
If you're at work by
noon, great day.
You'd be fired. You'd be fired by noon. Are you drinking on the job again? Sterling's back. Sterling is back. I don't know how to be drunk. I've never been. I'd be like Tom Cruise acting drunk in a movie. I'm pretty sure he's never been drunk either.
Just watch It's Always Sunny. They do a great job.
I don't know what it's like to be drunk. I also don't think what it's like to be drunk is the way that Tom Cruise portrays being drunk.
Yeah.
it's also like it's somewhere between there. But anyway, go ahead.
But to pull up a name, like Brad Keller, for example, was a guy that was always better than what it looked like he was until it wasn't. But Seth Lugo has now done this for 3 straight years where you're going, all right, this is a sample. This is a track record now, not a small sample size in your terms. That's your drink.
I don't drink for that one.
But I don't know.
Dylan is over there. Dylan's going to have to. He's going to be a racehorse in about 10 minutes, man. Go to break. I gotta pee.
I've bought in.
Gotta go pee.
To what Seth Lugo is, even if he perpetually does better than what maybe the underlying numbers say he is. Again, baseball, I buy into that. Football, not as much because of the just the difference in games. 162, a lot of times it evens out. Football, 17, then plus playoffs, of course, but. Yeah, I've bought into Seth Lugo. This is who he is. He's a workhorse who is going to do better than what maybe the numbers say he is. And he gets a lot of weak contact, and Planning Kaufman really helps that out.
Because I was not hungry but thirsty, and they kept saying underlying numbers and small sample size. I must have myself 15 Dr. Peps. All right, so can you have the breaking news sounder, please? We have 3 more games to let you know. We are now at 8. We are now at 8 games, Sterling. We know 8 games for the Chiefs' schedule. We set it at 8.5, and we all hit the over. So let's go through them. We knew about Christmas Day against Denver, Week 17. We knew about game number 1 at L.A. in Brazil. We found out this morning about Thanksgiving, that the Chiefs heading to Dallas for Thanksgiving. And now we know, and we gave this at the beginning of the show, they're playing Philadelphia Week 2, 3:25 on Fox, America's game of the week. So Week 2, Super Bowl rematch. Week 3 will be Sunday Night Football. They'll be going on the road to New York. Week 4, don't know. Week 5, they'll be heading to Jacksonville for Monday Night Football. Week 6, they will be playing the Detroit Lions on Sunday Night Football. Don't know Week 7, don't know Week 8. And Week 9 in Buffalo, November 2nd, 3:25 CBS. So there you go. We have found out 3 more games while we've been on the air. Week 5, Week 6, and Week 9 for the Chiefs and their schedule. So we know some of the bigger matchups. We don't know about Baltimore yet. We don't know when the Chiefs will be hosting the Washington Commanders, which is a game that people are excited to see. You know, see Jaden Daniels there at Arrowhead. I'm going to go ahead and guess that Week 4 is going to be a home game. And I'm going to say that's going to be... I'm going to guess that's Denver. No, that's Denver's home on. I'm going to guess that's the Raiders. I'm going to guess that's the Raiders Week 4 at home. Because are they going to go Week 1 to Week 7 and only play one AFC West team? Because they play the Chargers and then Philadelphia, the Giants, nobody, Jacksonville, Detroit. So mixed in there, would they have then another AFC West team? We know they face off against Denver at home Week 17. I think Week 4 is going to be a home game because they wouldn't go on the road 3 weeks in a row. I highly doubt that. That would also put 4 of the first 5 games on the road because they're in Brazil, then Philadelphia, then at New York, then an open, then at Jacksonville. It'd be 4 of the 5. So I think
also,
that's going to be
nice weather in KC for home games. Don't.
So I think Week 4
before the snow comes in.
I think Week 4, September 28th, will be a home game, unless it's no, Monday Night Football is the week after, so it won't be Monday Night Football, and also Sunday Night Football is the week before. So they play Sunday Night Football on Week 3, Monday Night Football Week 5, Sunday Night Football Week 6. So Week 4,
nooner against the Raiders.
I mean, yeah, it could be. It could be one of the few,
One of the few noon games. A nooner against the Raiders is what I would. Yeah, it's probably a good call there.
Yeah, it could be 325 Ravens.
Sure.
Could be 325 Fox Commanders. You know.
But I liked your thought process of getting an AFC West opponent in there.
Yeah.
And by the way, the Raiders are going to be interesting this year, so it's not like it's a throwaway game because Ashton Genty, obviously, Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, there's going to be some storylines. The Raiders trying to turn things around. Max Crosby, obviously, but also you'll have Christian Wilkins back and healthy this year, so you finally get to see those two guys on the defensive line wreaking havoc together. The AFC West, all 4 teams I think are solid this year with the Chiefs being the cream of the crop, but Chargers and Broncos should be good. Yeah. While Raiders should be solid.
Yeah, the AFC West is going to be much more difficult. I don't think there's any question about that than what it has traditionally been when the Chiefs have been on this run. I think they will be challenged. They will win the AFC West, but I think they'll be challenged in the AFC West. I do want to let you know, coming up tonight, 6 o'clock until 9 o'clock, we've got our schedule release special from 6 to 7, local show hosted by Sterling Holmes and Jack Johnson. And then at 7 o'clock, it'll be Westwood One special with Scott Graham and Ross Tucker. They'll anchor the coverage and have special guest analysts throughout the show. And we do want to thank our sponsors, the Bob Sight Auto Group. One name, 4 locations. The Bob Sight Auto Group. Trust is their tradition. And Quad Power Products, providing top-notch hydraulic repair services for over 30 years. So No surprise that the Bills are 325 on CBS. That's the first draft pick from them, typically, the CBS. I think they got it right with having the Super Bowl rematch earlier in the season with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Blair was 1 week off on his prediction of the Chiefs will head to Jacksonville in September. Because September, week 4 is the last week to be in Jacksonville in September, and they're week 5. It's October 6th.
Did you say it was Monday Night Football?
It's Monday Night Football.
Interesting.
Yep. Mondays Night's Football.
Because
in
Jacksonville is not.
Travis Hunter, baby.
I guess.
I mean, that might be, you take care of the Jags primetime game, and you get the Chiefs.
Well, the Jags are always going to be prime time at some point when they play in London.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
Well, that's not primetime. That's 8 in the morning. That's nationally televised.
I
but
guess
not
you're
primetime.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's standalone, but it ain't primetime. And the Chiefs
It's nap time.
Right now, all 8 of those games for the Chiefs are either primetime or standalone games like the Thanksgiving afternoon game or the 325 games of the week. Because they have right now the U2 game on Friday night. They've got 2 Sunday night football games, a Monday night football game already announced, Thanksgiving in the afternoon, Christmas at night, and then 325 against Philadelphia on Fox and 325 against Buffalo on CBS.
What time is the Chargers game at? Does it say the
Chargers game is going to be at night.
The Brazil one?
Yeah, the Brazil one's going to be 7 o'clock at night local time. And we don't know what local channel that'll be on. I would say, from my understanding, it will likely be up for bid for the local networks. But also then the NFL could decide what network that's going to be on, depending on how they figure out their broadcast in Brazil. But some of those games are up for bid when it's a YouTube or something like that to air locally in the market if you don't have YouTube or YouTube TV or whatever for that Friday night game. There will be a local broadcast to it. We just don't know right now where that's going to be, and really don't know until the NFL notifies the local networks of whether or not the local TV stations can even bid to be the rights holder for that specific game.
Brazil's standard time is 1:37 right now, so it's 2
So it's 2 hours ahead.
I was just wondering, Brazil's standard
So
time.
then you wouldn't want to have them kick off at 9 o'clock at night
Well, let me see.
in Brazil.
It's in Sao Paulo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 1:37.
So you wouldn't want to have them kick off at 9:15 for a 7:15 start, right? I mean, in Brazil.
Yeah,
So maybe it's a 6:15 start. Maybe
I
it's
was just wondering the.
maybe it's because if you're in the East Coast, you're kicking off at 8:15 or 8:20. So Monday Night Football against Jacksonville, they're going to be kicking off at 8:20. For a 7:20 Central Time. So maybe it's going to be like 6:15, 6:20. Maybe there's already a time announced, and it's like, hey, big dummy, here's the. They've already announced the time for that.
No, you know what? I like.
It's not going to be an afternoon game. Okay, I'll say that it's not going to be an afternoon game on September 5th. All right. I know that the kids are back in school and everything, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's there's no afternoon game for that. But I'm going to guess like 6 o'clock without having the information in front of me. But also could be a big dummy because that information could be widely dispersed and known.
They don't have to be.
It could be a Jim
mutually
Abbott.
exclusive, though. You being a big dummy and it being announced, they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
It's a great point.
Jason.
Let me just say, I don't think it's a Jim Abbott situation to where this has been widely discussed and talked about, or a Carlos Estevez, Charlie Sheen situation that we found out on Monday that Mick Schaefer was unaware that Charlie Sheen's real name was Carlos Estevez. And that was the joke that people made when the Royals signed Carlos Estevez, is that they signed the actual Rick Vaughn Wild Thing in Carlos Estevez. And he was like, dude, I think this is going to be a Jim Abbott. It was just learned. And I was like, you know what? It's not Jim Abbott, but it's closer to Jim Abbott than like, it's closer to how in the hell did you not know that than it is, oh, wow, I didn't know that either.
Has to be widely known and the only thing said person is known for. So
Yeah,
Charlie Sheen, unfortunately, has been in a lot of movies.
He ain't just known for being Carlos Estevez.
No.
In fact, that's what he's not known for.
Exactly.
He is not known for being, how many people even know his name is Carlos Estevez?
Lethal
Clearly, Mick Schaefer
combination
did.
of the two that requires the Jim
I
Abbott name.
only knew because people were making that joke when he was signed, and I go, okay, look,
Like a Wild Thing.
because I'm not a, you know me, I'm not a huge movie guy.
Okay.
Although,
Are you a small movie guy?
I will say though, went to Warner Brothers Studios and you'll find out it's the only jungle. Because this is my learned, I guess, because I wasn't here Monday, but I did this on Monday. I learned that there's the only jungle, like in Hollywood or like the West Coast. They actually have a jungle they built, and they use it in all these shows and movies. And we were watching Entourage last night, and we're like, we saw that. That's the thing with the pond, that they can make all these different things.
Boy, Dylan, how Sterling's dream came true, that he finally got to be in the jungle. He has been wanting to, the voice, and just finally,
through the jungle.
Finally got to be in the jungle.
I didn't even pick that up.
What a great tree.
What a great tree.
That is a great tree.
That pond right there.
So many movies here.
Used in Entourage and check that, Gilmore Girls.
Dear Rome, enjoy the shade. Signed, The Jungle. What a great email.
Rackham.
A great email.
Told the tour guide.
There. Nice.
Welcome to the jungle. Rackham. Good job, tour guide.
Travis Kelce. Turns out there's less of him now. And maybe he's dropping some breadcrumbs about what his future is going to be. And if he's dropping those, we know he's not eating them. We'll explain next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. Maybe some Rotten Tomatoes, and maybe, probably, yes. Maybe, probably, sure.
Why not?
Yes, that's right. Travis Kelce, he sent the text to Pat McAfee saying that, trying to get that bad taste out of his mouth. I'm going to get into the best shape I can be, or the best shape I've been, I think is the is the way he specifically put it. Kelce McAfee text best shape. Yes. Let's see. I'm coming back for sure. Going to try to get into the best shape I've been this offseason and get back to the mountaintop. So what does best shape I've been mean? Best shape I've been that I can be? Best shape I've ever been in my life? I don't know. He'll have to explain that one. But on Monday night, he was at an event in New York, an Amazon upfront presentation where he was on stage with his brother. Cool name of Jason. And let me tell you, what we saw Travis Kelce look like last year with a little bit of a beer belly, more of a rounded face, he has slimmed down. His face looks much skinnier. He clearly has been working out. He said he's lost around 20 pounds and feels like a, quote, new man, end quote, Travis Kelce. So I would say clearly taking the workouts and everything seriously so far this offseason of when he said he's going to do what he can to get in the best shape I've been. That's good. I don't know if playing at 230 is going to, we'll see what he's going to look like. I do think he was overweight. I do think he was out of shape. And I do think that's part of him not being as elusive or as good with the run after the catch. And if he's dropping weight and not enjoying the fruits of the off season from the regular season's labor, traveling with Taylor and doing the TV shows and just enjoying life, which there's nothing wrong with that. If he's maybe a little more dedicated of I'm doing everything I can this off season to be in the best shape of that I've been, I guess it would seem that way right now. We'll see what other pictures might when there's pictures and video of him down in Dallas working out with Patrick Mahomes, and maybe we'll see a little bit closer with the belly that people kept pointing out, and the belly was sticking out, with the jersey and stuff like that. So certainly a good indication so far.
I think the yak ability is the biggest thing because we talked about it a lot last year, and I said, man, it just dropped off. It made no sense. His career yards after catch per reception was 5.1. You look at 2020, 5.6, 21, 6.1, 22, 5.9, 23, 5. But okay, I get it, getting older, but 5 still a pretty solid number. This past year is 3.5. I mean, to say it was a drastic fall off and drop off is an understatement. It just seems so even perplexing. I mean, you're like, okay, yeah, he's older. I get that, but there has to be something else. And I do think the weight, the rotundness, the sturdiness of Travis Kelce last year played a factor in that. I'm not saying he's going to get back to the 6.1 number, but if he can get to a 4.5 or even cresting that 5 number on yards after catch, that's a massive difference. I mean, that is huge because it's not like he's the depth of target, for example, wasn't this drastic change. Right? Yeah, it was 6.4 last year, but it was 7.1 in 22. But when you're getting 2.5 yards more per reception because of yards after catch, well, that, 7.1 turns into a first down versus all of a sudden now you're short. Now you're not picking up these extra first downs that you were in previous seasons. So, yeah, I do think the 25 to 20 pounds difference can be a big factor.
Doesn't
Will it
his
be
face
great?
look much skinnier?
Yes, he looks good.
Yeah, he looks like what I remember Travis Kelce looking like. And last year was like, he doesn't. He looks like he was nothing wrong with enjoying yourself.
It sounds like he created the garage beer and drank a lot of those garage beers.
Yes, it's
what it looks like. And yes, so I do think this is normally I don't like to overreact to best shape of your life season, all that stuff.
Best shape
right?
I've been in.
Fair. Best shape I've been in season.
That's open to interpretation. His interpretation. What
I
does it mean?
do think that there is something in Travis Kelce losing weight that will be much more effective yards after catch.
He looks thinner.
He looks good.
Yeah, so we'll see. He's also dropping little breadcrumbs that he's not eating, clearly. Did you see that Kelce Jam canceled for this year?
Oh.
They have canceled 2025's Kelce Jam after killing it last year. And you know what they've announced, Sterling? They have canceled it this year in preparation of making 2026 the biggest, best they've ever had. What could be a I've retired party for Travis Kelce in Kelce Jam in 2026. I got in the best shape I've been in last year. I'm eliminating distractions. I'm not traveling to concerts with Taylor. I'm focusing on football. We're not doing the Kelce Jam. We're playing the season. I'm not announcing a farewell tour, but after the season is over, let's have the biggest, best, baddest party that we've had with Kelce Jam and do that in 2026. I don't know that that's what's going on. I'm just saying there are little morsels of what could be a farewell tour without calling it a farewell tour. And maybe it's just connecting dots. There's dots up there. I'm connecting it, and maybe connecting all those dots presents a picture of final year for Travis Kelce. I don't know. I hope not, because if he's getting in this good a shape and if he looks a little rejuvenated, then hey, why not a couple more years? You know, and I mean, if he plays like last year, I mean, the guy still had 800 yards, and so it's like he doesn't look like Kelce. Yeah, he still looks like one of the best tight ends in the league, though, even though he doesn't look like Kelce.
Hey, he's still doing Big Slick, though.
Right, yeah.
2 hours ago announced that Travis Kelce is still doing Big Slick. So
awesome. That's cool. So yeah, there's your Travis Kelce update for the day with an Amazon upfront presentation or something like that in New York, and having he was also spotted in New York going to Taylor Swift's huge apartment somewhere in New York. I don't know. I'm not familiar with New York. I'm familiar with the fact that it's probably incredibly expensive to buy out a couple of floors and then turn it into like a duplex. I'm guessing it is in New York. I don't know the prices of housing in New York. I've heard they're pretty cheap these days. I'm not sure. But there you go. No Kelce Jam this year. That has been canceled in preparation for a huge Kelce Jam next year.
But still giving back to the kids for Children's Mercy.
Right, absolutely. With the still going to be participating in the Big Slick. So there you go. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Filibustering is fun, or maybe it's not. Chiefs, Royals, Missouri, Kansas, voting, bills, legislature, special sessions, House bills, filibusters,
Incompetence.
star bonds, Beats, Bears, Battlestar Galactica.
I'm convinced people just like to say filibuster because it's a fun word. I feel like that's the whole point of it.
Kind of acting like a filibuster right now. Brazil would be. Well, it's a 7:15 local time on that Friday, so that means they're going to kick off 9:15 in Brazil. All right, whatever.
Late night.
That's as late as they kick off any football game, right? When it's international games, they're typically in the afternoon to play those things earlier in the States. And all the Eastern times are 8:15 or 8:20.
That is going to finish on another day.
Yeah, man. So there you go. So Chiefs, we know of 8 games right now that the Chiefs will be playing in their schedule. We set the over-under at 8.5 before the schedule was actually released, and we all took the over. So I feel like we might have set that too low. So I think I feel like I've set that too low. Well, last year was 9. So
well,
it's
I went
possible
off
we
don't.
Year.
It's possible it stays
Well,
here.
anything is possible. That's Kevin Garnett says that.
Yeah, he
says it all the time. So, all right, well, there you go. So we talked yesterday with Adam Teicher as news was coming down about the stadiums and what was going on in Jeff City and the Show Me Sports Investment Act, an House bill that was being voted on by the House and eventually sent to the Senate. And it passed in the House overwhelming. A huge number, probably a wider number than people would have guessed that it would have passed in the House yesterday. And then it had to pass the Senate for it to be done, for Governor Kehoe to sign off on it. And he would because he's throwing his weight behind this. The opposition is calling it an 11th hour attempt because they adjourned 6 o'clock on Friday. Governor Kehoe has also said if this does not get passed or does not get voted on, he has no problem calling a special session because, as he said, it's, quote, that important of an economic growth or grower. I don't know that they are going to get this thing done without a special session. You know, June 30th, when the Star bonds expire in Kansas, and they would then have to vote again. And by the way, that special session for Missouri would have to be called before July 1st when the budget and everything goes into place. From what I understand and what we've talked about before, and even discussing it with Mark Donovan, while the Star bonds can be extended pretty much every year, there is not a strategy of extending those is not top priority. It is not something that they want to go down the road of because it doesn't feel like there is as much support this go around to extend them the way that it was last year. It's going to be maybe a tougher fight that some that were in favor of it last time would then not be in favor of extending it another year, of saying, well, we're not just going to then go back
They're
and
just
forth
being
with
used
Missouri.
as a carrot.
Exactly. We're not just going
for
to be
Missouri to get their ducks in a row.
We've given them entire year to figure this thing out, and not even having to have a location.
Yeah.
Just figure this thing out and say that it's going to be over in Kansas, and it's been a year. Now, if there's good faith advancement of, decisions, then it might be easier to get that thing passed.
Sure.
The Chiefs, I think, would like to have a date sooner rather than later, probably by June 30th. They'd like to have a date, or a location, I should say. They'd like to have a location before June 30th. I don't know what it's going to look like on the Missouri side because there are politics at play, as there always are. Governor Kehoe and those that were in favor of this, it gets through the House. And it would give up to 50% of the project. Minimum project value of $500 million. The professional sports teams, stadiums have to be in the league of Major League Baseball or the NFL. The stadium has to be at least 30,000 seats for them to be a part of the project. And it would fund up to 50% of that project being public. Also, with an understanding and an expectation of the county city would also be involved in putting money towards said either renovation at Arrowhead or new stadium for the Royals. It also does not specify that the stadiums have to be in Jackson County, which, in my opinion, is a clear indication of the fact that what I already believed, in that the Royals are seriously considering Clay County and going across the river. There's vastly more space to do what they would like to do, an amphitheater, a baseball district, park, whatever it might be, parking, as opposed to Washington Square or Crossroads or East Village or some of the other locations that would be downtown. It does not specify that it has to be in Jackson County. I think you could make an argument that if this passes, it would be a stronger offer to the Chiefs and Royals, and specifically the Chiefs, than even the Star Bonds. I think you can make that case. Because the Star Bonds say, hey, we'll cover up to 70%, a little more than two-thirds. Okay, well, if the Chiefs are looking at $3 billion, are they going to sell $2 billion worth of Star Bonds? Like, are they going to be able to raise the capital of $2 billion? Yeah, but he's going to have to actually invest that money in the Star Bonds.
Hey, I'll invest.
I bet you ain't
$20.
It's gonna be tough to get investors into pro sports. That'll be tough.
But I mean,
sarcasm.
But I mean, but they're not owning the team. They're going to have to get their money back.
If we got the Star Bonds for Legends, I can guarantee they'll get it.
I
mean, sports teams.
But what I'm saying is $2 billion, though.
No. I know.
I'll just say this:
$500 million ain't enough either.
No.
Not even close.
It's at least $500 million, and
that's not enough.
But it's up to 50% of the project, so that would be $1.5 billion. That they don't have to go and then raise themselves. That the Chiefs don't have to then go out and say, we've got to raise $2 billion and maybe invest ourselves some of this just to get to the $2 billion or whatever. There's up to 1.5 already there if it's a $3 billion at least.
Can Kansas then raise it?
I don't know about that. They could.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they could say that. But then again, even if you raise it, you're still trying to get the Star Bond investment. They can go up to 70%. So, I mean, it's already been raised. Really, you got 20% more.
It helps them that the Legends does do well because that will be a good chip. But you're right.
But for Missouri, it would help them that they don't have to worry about going and raising that money, that Missouri taxes will be withheld from what the expectation of the revenue would be that next year in taxes withheld to put towards paying the bonds for up to 50% of the project's costs. And if it's $3 billion for the Chiefs, then that's up to $1.5 billion for the Chiefs. If it's $1 billion for the Royals, it's up to $500 million. That's the point of at least $500 million, is that if the Chiefs move and it's only one stadium that's going to be building new, it's going to be at least a $1 billion stadium. So 50%, minimum $500 million of what would go towards this project. So 50% of the $1 billion. But if the Chiefs build new somewhere on the Missouri side and it's up to $3 billion, then if it's $4 billion total, the 50% could cover up to $2 billion, and the Chiefs would not have to worry about going out and raising the bonds. Now, I think there would be an expectation of they should put some money in. They were going to put in $300 million for the $800 million renovation there at Arrowhead Stadium. And if the Chiefs move, and this is where it could be a strong offer from Missouri from that standpoint, but at Kansas, it doesn't go to a vote. In Missouri, there's a decent chance it won't have to go to a vote for the Royals. But I don't know that the Chiefs are going to build new if they stay in Missouri. And if they renovate Arrowhead, Arrowhead's owned by the county. And if you're going to be renovating Arrowhead and going to be money from the county or the county going to renovations, that's going to have to be voted on. If the Royals build new, the stadium doesn't have to be owned by the county.
True.
The stadium could be owned by some other entity, and then Clay could allocate money, not going to a vote in a budget, to then go to the Royals to give their part of it, while Missouri's giving their part of it to keep the Royals on the Missouri side. Will the Chiefs vote? Even if they both go to a vote, they're going to be separate. So, I mean, it's going to be voting on specifically the Royals or specifically the Chiefs. If this thing gets passed, the problem you're running into is the fact that last Friday, the House did not even vote on what was a $500 million new construction project from around the state. They voted on tons of bills that had to do with the budget and they did not vote on this one. And so by not voting on it on Friday, it just got canceled. So for them to have to vote on this, they would have to then call a special session or whatever. Well, because that was taken out, there are a lot of people in opposition of this in the Senate that are saying, you're dropping $500 million of what we bipartisan negotiated for construction projects around the entire state. You didn't even vote on it. And then you pushed this across quickly in the House. And you want us to then approve this at least $500 million towards pro sports? And you didn't even allow us to vote on what was a negotiated bill, and this was just brought together in the 11th hour? And so yesterday you get the filibuster. And I believe, I don't know who it was, but I believe he was just reading a book about the coaching strategies in basketball, maybe, as a filibuster. And
That's actually hilarious.
It is.
The one sport we don't have a professional team.
It would be great
hockey?
if it was. It would be great. No, it's not even up for debate right now.
Oh.
Because because they have the debate of trying to reverse the abortion rights that was voted on, and a couple of other things that are kind of big deals that they're looking at in the Senate. And if they don't get this thing figured out or voted on or discussed by 6 o'clock on Friday, they would then have to call a special session to specifically talk about this, which Governor Kehoe has said that he will do. If they get into that special session and the Senate doesn't vote for it then the only thing that the Chiefs and Royals would have is the Kansas side at this point. Yeah. Or a hope that they'll get something figured out down the road.
But at that point, at this point, do you even want to work with this side? The amount of lack of organization and lack of being in line and for it and all this, the filibuster, and now we got to go to a special session. I mean, it's just too much.
With you, Dylan.
I wonder if this thing would have been passed if last Friday's $500, the new construction projects around the state, would have been voted on and passed in the House, and then the Senate and those in opposition of this that are filibustering this particular bill would have then voted on that, passed it. Okay, now let's talk about this, and is this something we want to? Because I feel like this is political. Well, no, I'm offended that you guys did that, so I'm going to stop this.
If I'm the Chiefs, I'm kind of with you, Dylan. If the Chiefs want to build new, at this point I'm just going Kansas side because they at least look like they had their bleep together. They at least look like they're on top of it. It seems like a much easier proposition.
There's a dome. You'll get a Super Bowl. You can get Final Fours. You can get some college football playoff games. There's much more space to do things. Mark Donovan talked about a professional flag football team. Gambling.
Yeah,
we don't even know when gambling's going to be started in Missouri yet.
That's the other thing.
Get your bleep together with that,
If you're
man.
the Chiefs and you want to have a sports book, bar, and grill outside the stadium, or even a sports book inside the stadium, Kansas is easily the best option.
Right now, so far it is. But, you would hope that by 2031 that Missouri would have their bleep figured out.
You'd hope.
Gamble. Right, you would hope.
You'd hope.
But, it's a hope right now.
But, seriously, if I am the Chiefs, if you want to build new, I think it's the Kansas side. And
I don't think you're building new on the Missouri side.
Well, 100%. But so it comes down to what do the Chiefs really want? What does Clark Hunt want?
My guess is I think Clark Hunt wants to renovate Arrowhead, and I think Mark Donovan wants to go to Kansas.
Mark Donovan's right, in my opinion. Because here's the other thing Clark Hunt can say, like his dad built Arrowhead. That was his legacy. He took it from Municipal Stadium and made Arrowhead in 1970. So Clark could also do that, follow in his father's footsteps, and create a new domed stadium where he brings in multiple sports, like you said, the Final Four,
you get the Super Bowl in Kansas City.
I love that Dylan, the historian, is team Bill. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much because full transparency, I don't know if I even have a strong. And
you would think historian, you would want to keep Arrowhead.
That's
intact.
my point. Like I would think that you'd be on
but
team.
You can almost play both sides if you're saying history.
Well, you can
100%.
You can play both sides from the business side and from the football side. From the football side, Arrowhead Stadium.
Yes.
Because if you build new, you're not going to be able to replicate what it sounds like for a home field advantage like Arrowhead. Like however the acoustics were made there, and it just maybe it wasn't created to be that loud, but some reason it is that loud. I don't know that you can recreate that in a new stadium that won't have as many seats or will have other special areas of here's an end zone bar and here's this seats here. And so you aren't
the 1% spots.
Right. You aren't packed together as much as you are with feeling like some sardines at times, and you're on top of the stadium, screaming and yelling down. and the volumes all kept down there, and you're not going to have that. And the home field advantage and the open air environment and the history of having an iconic stadium like Arrowhead, the football side would say Arrowhead.
Right.
The business side would say, well, I can build new. I can have restaurants and hotels around
Damn
there.
near a theme park
Can have
around
gambling. Yeah. I mean, they're bringing a freaking theme park.
Mattel,
over there. Mattel.
Right up the
Anyways,
street.
you know.
Yeah.
So we could have, again, as Mark Donovan said, we could have space that we're going to have a huge complex that will be for flag football tournaments. Team USA, where's their home base to train? Oh, I know. It's out in Kansas. Is the home base to train for Team USA. They're at the Chiefs facility. Oh, they're starting this flag football league in the NFL. What's an anchor team? Oh, it's Kansas City is going to be one of the new flag football professional teams that are there. You've got all of the different, and obviously the dome part of it, and like we said, the different games and revenue you can bring in there. And for the city, to me, it would be that as well. But it's the football side and the business side of what they want. I think the Chiefs were fine either way when it went up to vote. I think they'd have been fine if the vote passed. Because if they wouldn't have been fine if the vote passed, they wouldn't have presented that, and they wouldn't have been on board with the Royals. They weren't going to get strong-armed to put something on there so they would be stuck for the next 20 years, 25 years at Arrowhead if they wanted to move. They wouldn't have done that if they would not have wanted that to pass. So I'm not in favor of the conspiracy theory of that they wanted it to fail. I'm more in line with I believe closer to the truth might be they were fine either way.
Yeah.
If this fails, we're fine. We told Missouri, we told Kansas or Jackson County, we said we want to stay here. You said no. Now we're looking at Kansas, and if we go to Kansas, you can't get pissed off at us because we tried to stay here first. And therefore, if it doesn't pass, well, then we can look at bringing Kansas into the negotiating process and see if they can give us a better deal. And then we've got a blank space to work with and build new from that standpoint.
The Royals, to me, though, seem like they're in no man's land because they've basically already made their...
They don't want to go to Kansas.
They've made their bed of, we have to leave Kauffman. We have to leave the K. That was basically their...
Well, John Sherman said they will not be playing baseball in 2031 at Kauffman.
So there's no fallback of renovation for the K,
No.
at least from what they've said. They wanted to go...
If there's renovation for the K, then the Chiefs are going to Kansas.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 100%. Because
There is zero desire for those teams to stay together.
Yes. And it's not because they hate each other. Just it makes
don't
no...
wanna
makes
deal
no,
with-
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. We don't have to deal with what they're dealing with is different than what we're dealing with. We want to deal with it on our own and not have to then be together.
And the downtown spot has already failed one time. Doesn't mean they wouldn't pass if they tried it again or did something different. But it just feels like the Royals situation is much more precarious. The Chiefs feel like a good spot of renovate. They can stay if they want to. There's a lot of different options. The Royals, it's either, well, man, do we have to fall back on our 5th, 6th, 7th option because our first couple aren't there, and the renovation aspect is obviously not there.
It won't be
according to Sherman,
expensive.
but-
It won't be as expensive for the Chiefs. Obviously, renovating. It'll be up to $3 billion on the Kansas side if they build new. They were talking about an $800 million renovation project. If it's just the Chiefs alone separated from the Royals and more time to put thoughts into this, and you're getting up to 50% of the project money from the state, and then you would hope Jackson, or the state is expecting Jackson County to put in, you also need to get a vote on that if you stay there. The renovation will be less of a monetary investment than what the $3 billion would be. But what are you getting in return on that investment? Are you getting an activation zone? You know,
I'm team make the parking situation easier for In-N-Out. I know it's already relatively easy compared to other places, but
no, we don't want In-N-Out. I'll take Shake Shack.
In-N-Out was delicious, by the way. I sent you that picture.
It's overrated.
That picture I sent looked damn good.
It looked overrated to me. It was an overrated picture of overrated burgers.
Oh, so no, that's you're. It's not the Derek Jeter of burgers. What are you talking about? It's not overrated.
That is a great way to describe it. It is the Derek Jeter of burgers.
It's not, though, because In-N-Out's phenomenal.
Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah,
Parking,
like,
In-N-Out.
If their plan was, you know what, the only thing we're going to renovate is we're going to tear down the K and just make more parking, I'm almost in for that because I don't need an activation zone.
Well, I think the
I don't
activation
need
zone
bells and whistles. Make easier parking, baby.
I think the activation zone was a placeholder for a hotel and a book.
For a
and
bar.
A sports book.
I
And,
would
and
hope so.
I think it was a placeholder that, well, they haven't passed gaming yet, so we can't have a casino,
I also hope
hotel.
it's not, because I don't want to have to go down to row 1 to place a bet. You know, like I don't want to have to go all the way down to the first row to place a bet at the sports book down there. Like put it up at the top of that. But also like, let's not have an activation zone in a average, 10 to 15 degree playoff weather stadium. You know, that's probably not going to sell.
That may be then enclosed. You could activate the enclosed. You could activate the dome. Activating the dome. Where are the kids at? They're going over there. Isn't it cold over there at the activation zone?
They got a dome.
Oh, okay. That's why the kids are over. That's fine.
Nice.
Okay, we'll be over there in a little bit. So we're gonna go check that out.
But also, you don't get any
You guys are gonna be
phone
tailgating
service. I don't
outside in 10-degree weather over the
Dome.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll join you. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. You were talking about getting activated
know. Oh, man.
Sterling?
He's trying to think of a way to.
Oh, sorry.
I-
to present it.
No, I don't.
Okay.
It left me.
That's fine.
It left me.
That's no big deal.
Filibuster.
Yeah, that's filibuster. You want to filibuster this thing? Somebody get a book that we can just read. You know what they should have done? They should have It would have been smart if you filibustered the history of all of the names that had lifetime bans from baseball that were reversed by Rob Manfred and why they were banned in the first place. That would have been good to filibuster just all of those players and why they were banned and come. That would have been good. It would have been informative. It would have been fun, But I don't know when the debate is going to be brought back up, if it is at all, because it sort of feels like no, we're not going to debate this because we got some pretty significant issues that were, minimum wage, abortion rights that we're going to be discussing over the next couple of days. And if those things get figured out, then maybe we get to this that we feel like you guys are just trying to 11th hour, quickly pass this thing through after screwing us on the $500 million construction project last week that you didn't even vote on. That was bipartisan negotiated. So pretty sure I'm not going to then jump right in line to your $500 million that, you're trying to allocate there for sports stadiums.
One positive. At least we're talking about these two teams staying in Kansas City. It's not an
for sure.
Oakland
Absolutely,
athletic situation. It's not a,
Well, that's the thing about the Missouri side is because, when John Sherman says, and I don't think they want to go to Kansas. I think they will if they have to. But when John Sherman says we won't be playing at Kauffman Stadium in 2031, that's a fact. They won't. So they'll be playing somewhere else. And as long as the somewhere else is still in the area, I'm good with that.
Yes.
But if the somewhere else says, we told you 2031 we weren't playing at Kauffman and now we're playing in Nashville. I don't think we're playing in San Antonio. I don't think that's going to be the case. Because again, I think Kansas is on board of saying, no, we'll take the Royals over here if that's the case. But I don't think they want to go there. They want to stay.
Like their creed, with arms wide open.
I think they, maybe that is it. But Creed plays for the Chiefs though. So that's a little different, though. But yeah, I think Clay County's a real player in this, and I think that's why they made sure to include in this that it doesn't have to be in Jackson County. To specifically say that the stadiums don't have to be in Jackson County, maybe that's just smart in saying, well, we'll allow them to stay. But, I mean, I wouldn't have guessed they would have left Jackson County when they're talking about downtown or renovating. But Clay County is legit, and it's a really cool looking project, and it gives them more of a blank space that the Chiefs would have over in Kansas, and it would give the Chiefs a blank space around where Kauffman is to build on and stuff like that. So we'll see, but this may have to come down to a special session called by Governor Kehoe to readdress this, because right now I don't think it looks great that it's going to be passed by Friday at 6 o'clock. If it is, awesome. It's the strongest, most competitive deal that Missouri has put forth to the teams to make sure they stay.
Will Wade. It's Will Wade. It's a strong-ass offer.
And Governor Kehoe said that when he was running for office. He wants to keep the teams in Missouri. It's a priority for him. And while it might be last minute sort of pushing it through the legislation, it does seem to be a priority since he's putting his weight behind this particular bill. And again, that's pretty strong. And could be stronger than the Kansas side for the Chiefs if you're talking about 50% of the project of whatever that might be for renovations, as opposed to, the star bonds can cover up to 70%, but are you going to actually get over $2 billion of investments in people buying up the star bonds? We'll see if that's the case. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling along. I don't know. Maybe we should test him for PEDs. I'm not sure. I mean, Jurickson Profar has that. Maybe this guy. Maybe we should look at this guy. I don't know. We'll talk about that next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. There are only 3 road games left to be figured out for the Chiefs and their schedule.
Ooh.
Because we know about the trip to L.A., which is a trip to Brazil. We know about them going to New York. We know about them going to Jacksonville. We know about them going to Buffalo. We know about them going to Dallas. We just don't know when they go to Denver, when they go to Vegas, and when they go to Tennessee. It's the only 3 road games left to be figured out. So if you're thinking about going to Nashville, well, you probably gotta wait till the night. Probably gotta wait till the night to figure out when that game's gonna be. You gotta wait a long time.
It's a bummer that's the one. That's the one
Is
that's
that the
probably
one?
the easiest travel
Yeah, but
for an away game.
good. Here's good news. You'll find out tonight.
Well, what if my plane ticket's gone by then?
That's a good point. You got to look right now. You got to take a chance. You know,
Take a chance on
you've
me.
got week 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 18 that all could be
Or
possibilities.
you'll drive because it's an 8-hour drive. But
It's not bad. It's not bad. Not terrible there. So we'll see. There are only 2 games for the Tennessee Titans that have been released on their schedule or leaked. So they've
no
got
one cares.
They've got a lot of open dates that also match up with Chiefs open dates. So it's not like, oh, there's only 2 dates that are open here for this team, and the Chiefs are blah, we can just put 2 and 2 together and figure out when they're going to play that team. That's not really the case. But we know of 8 games that the Chiefs will play, and 6 of those 8 games are going to. Well, 5 of the 8 are night games. The other 3 games of the 8 are 3:30 games, 3:25, 3:30. So no noon games yet. Although, as we talked about, week 4 might be a nooner. Might be a Raiders noon game there in week 4. I'm gonna pencil that one in. I'm not really gonna do that because I don't want to mess up the sheet that I have.
And you don't have a pencil; it's a pen. I'm looking at it.
That's cool. I'm gonna pen it in. All right. Anybody want to test Javi Baez for PEDs? Anybody want to look and see if he's on anything? I know. I'm not accusing. I'm simply asking the question, is he going to be checked? That's all. I mean, Jurickson Profar had an amazing resurgence last year. And they're like, yeah, let me check some out. Let me look a little deeper into what Jurickson is doing.
I know the NFL banned. You remember this last year when they banned players posting the texts of the drug test?
yeah,
The MLB needs to. I don't know if they have a ban on that. I know they probably
I would
do
like
that.
to see Javi's
I would like
if he's
to,
been tested or not.
I will
'Cause-
say his swing speed went down though. His bat speed is actually down 2 miles an hour.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he has to be stronger with his PEDs. He's fresher every single day as a 32-year-old. He has his OPS so far this year is second only to his second place MVP year as a 26-year-old. And he's 32.
It's also 126 plate appearances.
Agreed. But he already has as many home runs this so far, Javi Baez, and had the walk-off last night. Mainly it's just me being annoyed and frustrated and jealous of a guy having a career resurgence who has been terrible for them and is OPSing at 870 and slugging 513 and getting on base at 360 while Hunter Renfroe is doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And, may not even be on the team this weekend when they play the Cardinals. And Javi Baez is doing that. Like, boy, if you could just switch those, if Javi Baez continued to be Javi Baez and Hunter Renfroe had a resurgence, the Royals might be leading by 3.5
You
games.
want to check those contracts?
Oh, I know. Yeah, I'm not saying switch the contracts. I'm saying if Hunter Renfroe was
a
swinging the bat, it was like,
resurgence.
wow, this guy's swinging the bat like crazy. This is amazing. Javi Baez is just being Javi Baez. It might be the Royals with a 3.5 game lead because Torkelson and Baez doing what they're doing this year has been massive for the Tigers.
Yeah, because
They don't have Veerling yet. He's going to come back. That guy hit 20 home runs last year for the Tigers.
Because you have Kerry Carpenter, you have Riley Green again. Detroit might be one of the most underrated lineups in teams in Major League Baseball because
annoying.
they don't have a whole bunch of household names, but it's a whole bunch of useful players.
Useful.
But you're right, man. I think Baez
Torres is batting 300. Glaber is a 30-year-old, and
well, that was one of their bigger offseason signings.
I don't know how old he is. I think he's 30-something.
But the point remains that the Tigers in the AL Central overall is good. I think Baez takes a step back. By the way, I just think what he's doing is unsustainable overall.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact he's been able to do this playing center field, third base, shortstop, but center field especially is pretty damn impressive. He's been their Michael Garcia almost to an extent this year, where he's the super sub who's having a resurgence, which is, for Baez, it's fun to see. He's a somewhat entertaining player.
Yeah, he wasn't entertaining yesterday. I did not enjoy. I was not entertained.
It's going to make it that much sweeter once the Royals win the AL Central and it's all good. You can stick it to all those Yankees fans. All the Yankee, Cowboy, and Lakers fans, yeah, it's going to be great to stick it to them.
Okay.
Duke basketball, Alabama football, and Yankees fans. Yeah, it'll be great. They're all one.
Yeah, the Tigers' second highest WAR for position players last year has not played this year. Riley Green was number one at 5.4 WAR, and Matt Vierling was a 3 last year, and he's still out, and he's on a rehab assignment now. So they're about to get Matt Vierling back. The Tigers are. Which I don't know how much that. I mean, he's more of a utility guy. He hit 16 home runs. He gets on base at 315 or something. But it's not like they're not getting Aaron Judge, but they're adding another guy who's a really good player to their team. And the Royals are hoping that any of their good players will start playing a little bit better. And what we're doing is watching the clock to see when Renfroe is going to be DFA'd.
But this is almost my frustration with the hitting is you can't catch a team like Detroit if you're scoring one run. I mean,
sure.
I know it's great when we see the Royals win 1-0 or 2-0, and you're like, oh, that's awesome. Or they win 2-1. What a great pitching duel. But they've been doing this all season long. At some point, and I know we all want to see Renfroe DFA'd. I understand that we're all sitting here going, he's not helping the team.
Yeah.
But it's also like, then who? I get it. We just want to see someone new.
Jack.
Yes. We'd love to see that. We all want to see someone new. But it's also not a guarantee that whoever steps in is all of a sudden going to be a dude who rakes. I mean,
it doesn't even have to be that.
No, agreed. I mean, Drew Waters has been a revelation, and he's been basically a league average player.
Right.
I mean, we've talked about Drew Waters so much for being a league average guy. Yeah. That's what it's. We're asking for. What we're asking for is not much. We're asking for be below average, not historically bad. That's what it comes down to. But I don't know. It's where my frustration has been lying all season long, and why I keep saying the pitching staff's doing all this, but I don't know if they can do this all year long, which is, again, historically phenomenal. They're the best pitching staff in the entire AL, and the only one that's been better this year has been the Mets, and different payroll. But the Bats can't be this bad. They just can't. They have scored 7 more runs than the White Sox. It's just...
Yeah, it's brutal. They're not hitting home runs. I mean, they're not getting extra base hits nearly enough. Comparing it to like Jack and Vinny in 2022, when it was like, why is he still down in Omaha? They have to bring him up. In 73 games in Omaha that year in 2022, he batted .280, got on base at .370, was OPSing at .930 at AAA. Yeah. And in those 73 games, he had 18 home runs and 17 doubles, so he was mashing. He had more walks than strikeouts in those 73 games, 40 walks, 39 strikeouts. I think some of that is also AAA not wanting to pitch to him because he was raking everything. If it was close, he was pounding it. And so he walked, but he also was allowing those pitches that were balls to be left alone, to not swing at them, to try to do more than what he's capable of doing. And that power came with him down in AAA, and it was like, all right, you can't keep this guy down here any longer, and they brought him up. And, he's had some injuries and everything, and this year has not been, what you would hope to see from Vinny Pasquantino. I don't know how long the Royals are going to say, well, Jack Caglianone's going to have to do and play to a certain level before we say he's ready to come up and not feel like he's the savior. Well, how about you just tell him this? You're not the savior.
Yeah. We're
just bringing you up because we're trying to win a division. So we're bringing you up here because you're going to help the ball club. You're not going to save our offense. You're going to help us. And that's why we're bringing you up. You don't have to be the savior. We're bringing you up to do what you were doing in AA. Just keep doing what you're doing. You be you. I don't care if there's a third deck or a fourth deck. You just be you. We'll put you in the lineup here, and don't try to do too much. Just be Jack Caglianone. You are not the savior of this offense. We've got Salvi and Vinny. Bobby finished second in the Cy Young. We got a guy in Jonathan
that's even
India.
more impressive.
Excuse me, the MVP. Are you saying he can't? You're telling me with that arm he can't finish second? Urseg made the transition. Why can't Bobby?
Fair point.
Bobby finished second in MVP. Jonathan India's looking like a leadoff hitter. Just need you to be you.
Be Drew Waters. Be
Drew
average.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, but I mean if he's not, connecting and barreling it up and getting all of it, but even if Jack doesn't get all of it, he still hits home runs. Like, he doesn't have to hit them 500. They don't count for more the further they go. It'd be cool if you did. It's like a 3-point shot or a 4-point shot, MTV, Rock and Jock,
Can he OPS 450?
OPS?
If that's the answer, if the answer is yes, then that's Hunter Renfroe. Because Hunter Renfroe, even after the double, is OPSing 450. 0 home runs, 4 RBIs. At this point, Renfroe has no power anymore. It's gone. His best hit was last night in Houston, and that still didn't get out.
Yeah.
At some
Might
point,
have got out in other places, but I mean, it hit
not in
pretty hard.
Houston. That's where they're playing.
I know.
It's where they're playing. I don't care. I don't
Why
care.
couldn't they have been playing in Baltimore? That
Like,
thing would have been 5 rows up.
I don't care.
Splash zone.
That was happening in Houston, and he hits it off the wall. And so at some point, he's not playing defense. He's got no speed. He's got no power anymore. Jack, again, can take a walk. He has more. He can run into one. I don't know. And again, I'm not going to say he's going to come up and be great. But can you be – Drew Waters is now the Mendoza line for that. Can you be average?
I don't think he's going to come up and be great, but I don't think you should worry about him coming up and him being ruined. It's like, well, you know what? He came up and he wasn't any good. So then he was ruined? Well, then he wasn't going to be good enough anyway. If he comes up and gets overwhelmed and can't hit and then melts down, then he was never going to be good enough. More game? How long did you season Jackson Coar? I mean, you left him on the burner longer. And then you brought him up and he's still melted. So if you kept him down there another month and a half, what, you think the mindset was going to be different? He was going to come up and pitch like an ace? No, he was going to come up and melt down whenever that happened. He didn't have it. Some guys do. And either you have it or you don't. And if Jack Caglione comes up and melts down, he was going to do that if he stayed down in the minors another month. And you can't be afraid of saying, well, we might have to send him back down if he's struggling. Okay, you did that with Moose. Mm-hmm. You did that with Billy. You did that with Alex. Those guys were part of a World Series and then a World Series winning team. I mean, only Billy not part of the World Series winning team. But those guys, went back down and then had to come back up. And who knows if that's even the case. Maybe, just maybe, he gets to the big leagues and he rakes. Maybe that happens. Why are we looking at it and saying, well, if he gets up and then he sucks, then what? Then you're in the same spot you are right now. What if, and I'm just spitballing, the exact opposite happens? What if he comes up and he's awesome? Well, then now you're better. But, we don't want him to feel like he's, and we've heard this, that the Royals are like, we don't want him to feel like he's the savior. Then tell him he's not. You're not the savior. You're a player on this team. There are 9 guys in the lineup. Bobby's the savior.
Yeah.
Bobby's the Cy Young MVP guy. MVP. Bobby's that guy. It's not you. Well, we got to teach him how to play right field. Then do it. Stop having him play first base at AA.
Yeah.
Why has it been 2 weeks since he's played right field?
And by the way, it's not like he's going to be inserted in the 5 spot.
Right. Put him at 7. Put him at 8. I don't care. Put him at 9. I don't care. I know that Kyle Isbell has
the 9 spot locked.
He's got the residency of the 9 spot taken care. The real estate is there's no vacancy at the 9 spot. It's Kyle Isbell's house.
But really, it's you're having him fill in for Renfroe and maybe Michael Massey. I mean, although Massey's starting to get a little bit going. That's what it is. It's he's taken over whenever Mark Canha or whenever Kevin Biggio would have been in the lineup or Renfroe. Like, you're not asking him to be the 4-hole.
Yeah.
You're bat 6th, 7th, 8th. It doesn't matter.
Maybe he offers so much worry for other teams that they don't want to pitch to him, and now he just takes a walk, and now you've moved the lineup to the next guy. I don't know what happens, but I have a decent idea of what's going to happen when Biggio, Renfroe, Canha, and those guys are at the plate. I have a decent idea of what's going to happen.
Canha's been
Has he?
struggled. No,
Okay.
he's struggled recently.
Like that's the thing is like
He's
started.
been really struggling.
Yeah, it was like okay, Canna was good in spring training and then started off pretty good, but now he's Mark Canna.
Hmm.
I mean, like Mark Canna batting third is an issue.
Yeah, no, 100%.
If Mark Canna's your
massive
3-hitter,
issue. Yes.
then you need to make a move right now, or call up Jack Caglione, not to bat third.
Yes.
Maybe put Michael at third. And Jack somewhere, and Vinny, and I know it was Ofran Valdez, and Vinny doesn't bat third, and when these tougher lefties, fine. I don't get it. It's a tougher lefty, so you're going to take Vinny out of the 3 spot. Then why aren't you taking him out of the lineup? If you don't think he can hit lefties, why is he in the lineup? Put Salvi at first and Fermin at catching, and have somebody else DH.
In fairness, Vinny's been really good defensively at first base this year.
I'm cool with that.
He's been
totally
outstanding.
But the strategy behind moving him down to 7th because there's a better lefty on the mound and taking him out of the 3 spot because there's a better lefty on the mound to put Mark Canna in there.
Well, you wouldn't take Doug Minkiewicz out of the lineup, right? You got to keep that glove in there, baby.
I mean, and I'm not, but the point, then leave him at 3. Then leave Vinny at 3. Like you're telling him, hey, Vinny, we want you to play today, but we don't think you're good enough to go up against this guy. So we're going to slide you down to 7. Then leave him there.
Yeah.
If you think he's a 7-hitter, then leave him at 7. Well, we think he's our 3-hitter. Then leave him at 3. Well, there's a good lefty on the mound. Then take him out of the lineup. Well, we think he's good enough to be in the lineup. Then put him at 3. Well, not that good. Let's put him at... Pick one with Vinny, okay? Pick one, stay with it. Is he your 3-hitter or not? And if he's not, it sure as hell ain't Mark Canna as your 3-hitter. They only scored 1 run. Why? Well, it ain't because of Renfroe. It could be part of it, but there's a collective that's going on with that. And by the way, this guy's a lefty tonight, too. He ain't Fran Valdez, but it kind of sounds like he's a Chris Bubich-esque type pitcher that incredibly deceptive. You don't see the pitches until maybe it's too late. His 90-mile-an-hour fastball plays faster because he's deceptive with his lefty sort of funky delivery. He's got a curve in the 70s and a slider in the low 80s and a fastball at 90. And the guy's going to throw, some, he's going to throw a not over the top, maybe a little bit lower of a arm angle. Is Vinny at 3 tonight? Because we don't know how good the lefty is?
My concern with the Royals offensively, is it's not necessarily on base percentage. It's not necessarily average.
This is our concern, dude.
That's a part of it.
It's home runs. They're last in Major League Baseball in home runs, and it's not just Kauffman. You can't just use it as an excuse because I've seen other players hit home runs in Kauffman, seemingly pretty easy.
They're 7th in doubles and 5th in triples.
But
that's what they're doing. They're dead last in home runs.
26th in slugging.
Yeah.
The only teams worse are the Rockies, Brewers, Pirates, and White Sox. Not a team or teams you want to be around. And that's what it comes down to. Again, it's not necessarily average or on base percentage, which I know we have some qualms with, but that hasn't been the biggest issue. They've hit a decent amount of singles, but that's it. It's just singles. They have no one who's really driving the bus.
Yeah, two singles get you 0 runs. 2 home runs get you 2. 2 doubles get you 1. But 2 singles get you 0. So you might want to, put bat on ball and drive further. And this conversation that we're having, like, unfortunately, I mean, it's tough to have a conversation and talk about him because we all love him, but we can yell till we're blue in the face about Hunter Renfroe and Canna and Biggio and MJ Melendez and Massey not doing what he's supposed to be doing. But we do that while ignoring Salvi.
Yeah.
And that is an issue because he has been really bad this year. He's not been good. He's got 2 home runs. Oh, he had the stretch when he hit a bunch of doubles, right? But he's still being Salvi at the plate. I would never throw him a strike. If Salvi just sat up there and walked, I bet he and didn't swing the bat, he'd probably walk 3 times in a game. If you just went up there and said, I'm not going to swing, that pitcher doesn't believe you're not going to swing, they ain't going to throw you 3 strikes before you throw you 4 balls. You're going to walk 3 times in a game. But he won't do it. And he had that amazing start heading into June last year. March, April, May, June. But since June of last year, so July and counting, he's OPSing at 680. Salvi is. It's 141 games. OPSing at 680. Getting on base at 290. Like, we know he went downhill last year, and we were like, well, he got tired. He was playing so much, right? Remember, they were going to play him less this year because he was getting tired last year. They were going to make sure that it was a full season's worth of Salvi playing at a high level. But maybe it wasn't because he was tired. Because he's not tired right now, right? But since July of last year and this year, he's combined 680 OPS. And he's batting fourth. And he's not hitting home runs when he's doing that. He's hitting some doubles. Okay, that's good. But those doubles this year were home runs last year. In those last 101 games, he hit 14 doubles. So far in 40 games, he's hit 13 doubles. But in those 101 games, he hit 17 home runs. These 41s, he's hit 2. Those doubles were home runs last year. Even when he was struggling, those doubles were home runs. Now they're doubles or flyouts. We'll see. Hopefully he turns it on. Hopefully everybody gets hot at the same time for a month. And 17-4 is like, wow, they're doing this and scoring runs. That's awesome. They're on pace to win 92 games, and their offense has been trash. And they're on pace to win 92 games this year. We'll find out. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. All right, wrapping up this hour, we'll talk with Mick Schaefer. We'll get some Rotten Tomatoes coming up. We are now 9 games in for the Chiefs. We have hit the over officially. Officially hit the over.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Can I talk in this hour? It's already the 1 o'clock hour. That's a late run. It's a late push.
Yeah.
It's like the Knicks against the Celtics.
We had like 3 this morning, and we're at 9 now. The one that's added is they will be heading to Denver week 11, November 16th. It's 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So they are in Buffalo week 9 and in Denver week 11. Also with Detroit and Jacksonville and some of those other games that we already know about. So we have 9 games on the schedule so far. The over has hit. All right, last hour of the show here, thankfully. Heading up until 2 o'clock. Tonight at 6 o'clock, Sterling, you're to be back on the air, aren't you?
I am back.
Whether you like it or not. It is the schedule release show that we're doing a special right here
Give
on
me a
Sports Radio
break. You're
810.
doing a special for that dumb thing.
Damn right we are.
God.
You mean the awesome
When
thing.
you find out what, I don't know, 8 games the Chiefs are playing because almost everything
9
has already
the
been
overhit.
released.
From 6
No,
to
8
7.
more is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
So with Mick saying that, from 6 to 7, Sterling and Jack will be on the air at 6 o'clock. And then Westwood One's coverage from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Because
For
it's
those that
still
care.
7, right? 7 Central is when it gets released.
Yeah. I
So
believe
you're not going to be there when they announce?
No,
the
I give
He's
the
the pregame.
tease.
He's the
I
teaser.
tease.
He likes
What,
to
what,
tease.
what is there to say? I mean, other than what we've been saying all day and
Well,
all week.
I'm good at teasing. We're gonna get a
You
poll
are.
in here, and we're gonna just.
What's that, Dylan? Oh, Chad wants to see him? Okay,
good.
cool. Yeah, I think there's a meeting with Chad after the
Yeah, makes
segment's over.
With me?
No,
for-
with Chad, with Mick.
Oh,
I do want to say a big shout out to the Bobside Auto Group. One name, 4 locations, Bobside Auto Group. Trust is their tradition. Quad Power Products, providing top-notch hydraulic repair services for over 30 years. So Sterling and Jack will be on the air tonight from 6 to
Listen,
7.
everybody should listen. I do feel vindicated, though. We talked to Brett Veach at the Speedway this weekend, and Matt Foster, our reporter's like, hey, you excited for this week? He's like, nah. I'm excited to get our veterans and rookies into,
Because he already
in the
knew
house
what
and
the
all that
schedule
stuff.
was.
No. Because he was like, we already know 90+%. We know who we're playing, where we're playing. That's more for the fans. I'm like, thank you, Brett.
We'll see. It's for the fans. It's for the fans. We know that they're going to be playing on Thanksgiving.
Which fans? I mean,
and Christmas.
after
and in
like
Brazil.
8 o'clock tonight, is everybody be like, oh, God, Broncos, week 11 at home?
By the way,
Well,
I
no,
forgot.
but you can start talking about last year we found out the 3 games in 10 or 11 days, and we were talking about that and what was going to look like, and I think there's some interesting tidbits here.
No. Not to me.
I forgot to tell you.
It's not like the draft. You get guys and you can speculate, you look forward to the draft and all that stuff. Or a game, you look back on the game, and it's like, okay, awesome. They filled in the final 5% of the schedule.
Mick, I forgot to tell you. There was a mistake.
Grinch on this day.
There's a mistake on one of the leaks. It had the Bills game on November 2nd for Week 9. That's actually been moved back to that Friday. That's going to be played on October 31st. So I'm joking.
I thought the 31st was a Saturday this year.
I think it's Friday.
Is it a Friday?
So sorry about that. So you got
My
Thanksgiving, Christmas,
my 3
and
favorite
Thanksgiving
holidays.
out.
3 of my 4. Yeah.
There you
When's
go.
the 4th one? July 4th?
Mother's Day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, actually playing
mine
playing
haven't changed
preseason
since
game.
I was a kid. Those 4 are great.
Actually playing a
Christmas,
preseason
Thanksgiving,
game.
and July
Makes sense.
4th.
Well, they're going to go.
Preseason game July 4th.
I was kidding about that with Nick Jacobs. He's like, yeah, they're going to make a big waiver wire day that day.
They actually have it's really cool. They got a cool game coming up at the end of this month on the 26th. They're going to play a game on the 26th. Actually 25th, so you can't go to the lake.
Memorial Day, yeah.
Yeah, you can't go to the lake. They're going to play a fun little game on the 25th, so they're excited about that. That's actually the Ravens Chiefs on
Makes sense.
Sunday.
No, it's
May
fine.
25th.
Nobody wants to hear me bitch.
No, we're
I'll just do
joking.
it off
November
air.
2nd,
I'll
Bills.
do it off
They are
air.
not playing on Halloween this year. They're playing the Bills 3:25 on CBS on that Sunday, which is what we already knew was going to happen because every year it's 3:25 CBS Chiefs Bills. It's their number 1 draft pick. But we didn't know that it was going to be Chiefs Cowboys on Thanksgiving, which was my prediction on Sunday.
It was. Good
Mick.
call.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I like how everybody goes, that is going to be massive records ratings on Thanksgiving.
I know.
So you're saying that the Chiefs are the draw?
like that. It
Because
hasn't been before.
but if it was the Cowboys as the draw, wouldn't anybody they play have massive rating? There have been some good Cowboys matchups over the years on Thanksgiving, but now the Chiefs are there. Oh my God, that's going to be doing crazy numbers. So the Chiefs are America's team, is what you're saying. Interesting. Thank
They're
you
like
for-
United States team. America's team plays on Thanksgiving. United States team plays on Christmas.
Well,
so it's like Miss USA and Miss America.
Well, the America's team is playing on Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah, this year. Yeah, but now apparently every year
That
for Christmas.
game is going to be huge. But speaking of something that's not huge,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce lost about
Oh, yeah,
25
right.
pounds.
Nice segue,
I don't know if
huh?
you saw that about Travis, but Travis is looking svelte.
There's no Kelsey jam this year, and he's
know.
not been eating jam apparently.
Did you hear my my theory behind it? I said he's dropping little breadcrumbs. He's not eating them, but he's dropping them. In that they said no Kelsey jam for 2025 to prepare for the biggest Kelsey jam in 26. kind of a farewell last year for Kelsey. I'm not having distractions with the Kelsey
So
jam
you
or anything.
might call it like a bachelor party.
No. And then next year, we're going to have the
Wedding celebration.
biggest, baddest blowout Kelsey jam after I'm done playing because I don't have to worry about working out or anything, and I can just chill and enjoy myself. But this year, it is focused for the final year of my career. No Kelsey jam, no distractions.
Yeah,
Let's
that's
roll.
probably 100% true.
Thank you.
I find
But they're
it
just breadcrumbs.
Yeah, this is last year.
I do find it always really funny when we talk about, he looks so good, he's lost this weight. Like, what if they talked about us like that? They see Mick on TV. Yeah, Mick looks really good. Must be his last year. Look how good he's
Yeah, I
looking.
wish.
Look at all the weight he's lost.
No, the camera, especially ours, they had 10, maybe 15 pounds.
I've always
And
thought
there's so
15
many
when I go
cameras
there.
on me.
Yeah, when I watch Sunday Sound Off, I'm like, that clearly adds 20 pounds to me.
And it's
I
always
don't
to my
look like
face.
that.
It
Yeah.
always makes my
Yes,
face look
yes.
more rotund. But no, I brought this up with Travis,
good
and
word.
the yak ability was drastically lower last year. It had been trending downward for a few years, but it was a legit cliff last year. And I do think losing some weight, we all talked about it and we noticed it.
Faster when you're smaller.
But you don't have to be like small. I'm not expecting him to go up and be the Travis Kelce he was when he was 28 or 29. But can he return to what he was when he was 33?
Remember, what was it 21 season? When he ran away from so many Chargers defenders and cut back and the walk-off touchdown
Had his
in
arms
LA?
out at the
that was just a
2-yard
few
line.
years ago. I'd take that age.
Great.
You know?
Yeah, that was fun. That was really cool. That was nice. Yeah, I would. Hopefully, that's what he looks like. Hopefully, that's the whatever the best shape I've been in, as he texted McAfee, means. I don't know. I'm going to try to get into the best shape I've been in this offseason. Certainly at the New York event on Monday night, his face looked like what I remember Travis Kelce's sort of face looking like, and not what it looked like at times last year.
So you're saying we don't have to worry about this being Salvi's last year?
I would like him to maybe. I think the breadcrumbs being put down by Travis.
he's picking
might-
them up.
yeah, the jam that's not there might have been on the breadcrumbs there.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Hey,
Ooh, piece of candy.
Unfortunately, God, man, I love him so much. I just wish that he would stop swinging at things in the other dugout.
And that he was the one hitting 6th or 7th in line. That's when you know it's a good lineup, is when he's there. Yeah.
Right. And he's your number 4 hitter. He's got 2 home runs, and he's getting on base at 270, and he's OPSing like 600. Like it's been.
But the underlying numbers are great, okay? Take a drink. The underlying numbers of Salvador Perez still say he's an
good.
843 OPS guy.
What do the overlying numbers say?
Not great, Bob.
Okay.
But what I will say is long season, the underlying numbers traditionally will even out in baseball rather than football. So there is a small amount
Yeah.
to be
But my
optimistic about.
my what worries me is that he had that amazing start last year through June, and since that start, when the calendar turned to July to now, it's been 141 games, and he's OPSing at 683.
Yeah.
In the second half, and this
That's with 7 doubles in like 6 games, too.
Right. Yeah, he had that crazy stretch that was.
Jason brought up a good point.
Thank you.
That's a first.
I want to make sure I give you credit here because
Appreciate
he was talking about those doubles, and he goes, "Well, but last year those were home runs, and that's somewhat been the issue."
Because in the 100 games last year, the second half of the season, he had 14 doubles and 17 home runs. In these 41 games, he has 13 doubles and 2 home runs.
Sure, yeah.
So it's not evening out to where it's like almost as many doubles as home runs last year, more. Now they're all doubles or fly ball outs. Could have been home runs last year, another fly. Maybe
Listen,
it
I
gets
don't want
hotter.
to get greedy. I would take the Royals hitting doubles.
Yeah, well, they're 7th in baseball in hitting doubles. I mean, come on, they're awesome.
Because they have Bobby and then like,
They're just hitting-
Salvi had a great week.
They're just hitting 1 an inning and nothing else after that. Oh, here's a double in the first. Didn't even get to third.
Dude,
double in
and
the second.
It worked out to where, for me, got the base hit yesterday, but like Ryan and Hud were talking about the broadcast. It was the 5th. And they're like, I know it's early, but I'm almost ready to bunt. And I'm like, yes. Team bunt.
Right, I'll bunt in
Get
the
a
first
run. Have you not seen what this guy's been doing for 4+ innings?
I'll bunt in the second.
Sneak one across. You've got a guy on the mound that could hold that 1-0 lead. It almost happened. And so, thankfully, it worked out. But if that's the first inning, I'm team bunt.
Yeah, depending on who's up. I don't want Bobby to bunt.
There's one player that's
Bobby
earned the
bunts.
right to not have
That's
to
him.
bunt.
That's maybe the only one.
That's it.
Salvi.
Yeah, I
Or
agree.
just probably because he
because
can't bunt.
can't do it. Yeah, not because
If he
earned
could,
it.
let's
He
go.
has to.
He
I
could
was
do like
gonna-
the
I don't
South
know.
Park, like Kyle's
It could be a
cousin, how he
bad
bunted
bunt for
and
Salvi
stick
because
the
he'll be
bat
playing
out.
so far back.
And Bobby Bunts could be a good alliteration, and he's fast, so he might be able to beat it out. So Bobby Bunts could be a thing.
It's
I would hate it, but still,
It's a
could be.
testament to how fast he is that I was shocked twice last night. One on the double play. I know he hit it 200 miles an hour.
It was 111, I believe.
Gosh.
111 off the bat.
But even then,
had
I'm
to be
shocked.
right at him.
Yeah, right at him at third, though. And then that last one, when you see, I can't remember who's at
It was
third.
top of the 8th inning. I think it was
When he just
Paredes.
flicked it across, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, he's going to beat that out. He almost did.
So close.
But that's a testament how fast he is. Like both those times, I'm like, how is he out?
I was going to save this for middle of July when we didn't, or beginning of July, we didn't have anything to talk about. But
What?
Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. You think it's time for Pete Rose to be in the Hall of Fame? Rob Manfred has lifted the banned players from, not from the grave, but he has lifted the ban on the players that have been banned for a permanent ban, not a lifetime ban, permanent ban. But Rob Manfred says that the permanent ban shouldn't last after you're dead. So there is no longer a ban on these players. He also said, just as whatever Paul Giamatti's dad's name was.
Bartlett Giamatti.
Bartlett Giamatti said, I don't vote. He's permanently banned. I don't have a say in the Hall of Fame. And then the Hall of Fame came out and said, well, Pete Rose, if he's not eligible to play, he's not eligible for the Hall of Fame. So it wasn't the commissioner that said he can't be in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame came out and said he can't be in the Hall of Fame. Giamatti and Rob Manfred then said
Banned from
last night.
baseball.
Yeah. Then Rob Manfred said last night, I agree with Commissioner Giamatti. I don't have a say on the Hall of Fame. I have a say on whether they're allowed back in baseball or not. And these guys, the permanent ban should only be until they're dead. And after that, the ban should be lifted, and now the Hall of Fame can figure out if Shoeless Joe and Pete Rose want to go in 2028 in the Hall of Fame posthumously, as Pete Rose predicted he would go in to the Hall of Fame posthumously.
I don't land on either side. I get, rules are rules. Actions have consequences. I'm fine if he never got in, but I think this is pretty crappy. I mean, 35 years, 35-ish years, where it's like 89, I think he got banned. So longer, and then 8 months after he dies, you do this. Now it's 100 years after Joe Jackson died.
So you have all of the Black Sox from the scandal. Joe Jackson.
And who are
Buck,
the others? There's like 15 or something
Buck
like that.
Weaver, Eddie Saccott, Lefty Williams. He threw right. He was odd. Happy Felch was always pissed. Fred McMullen. Swede Reisberg was actually American. Chick Gandil.
These are all real names.
Yeah, these are all names. Yeah, Chick Gandil.
Old Haas Radborn.
And then those are the Black Sox. And then these are all the players that the ban has been lifted on now. Joe Gideon, he was banned in 1919 because he had, quote, guilty knowledge, end quote, of gambling activity.
Okay.
Which is a great
of that same
I have no
scandal.
idea. But a great band name, Guilty Knowledge.
It's a good horse.
Guilty
Knowledge ran
Guilty Knowledge.
in the Belmont.
Yeah, did it? Probably did. Gene Paulette was banned in 1920 for associating with gamblers. Benny Koff was banned in 1921 despite his acquittal on auto theft charge. He was charged with stealing a car. He was acquitted. Kennesaw Mountain Landis deemed him, quote, no longer a fit companion for other ball players regardless of the law.
Wow.
End quote.
I figured they would all been gambling.
Lee McGee, banned in 1921 over his disputed back salary, elicited evidence of his gambling involvement.
Okay.
So the back salary apparently created this evidence that he was involved in gambling. Shuffle and Phil Douglas, New York Giants player, banned after threatening his manager.
Seriously?
Boy, Kennesaw Mountain Landis did not play, dude.
No.
You steal a car, you're banned. You threaten your manager, you're banned.
Devers would be done by now. In 1920.
You know how many players today would not be in baseball?
know, right?
Kennesaw Mountain Landis is rolling over in his grave at all these players playing right now. So Shuffle and Phil Douglas was out because he threatened his manager. Jimmy O'Connell was banned in 1924 after offering a bribe to another player. Cozy Dolan was the Giants coach involved in
My
the O'Connell
cat's name.
incident.
Not Dolan, just Cozy.
It's a
Well, it's Cozy Dolan now. I've decided.
He was the Giants coach involved in the O'Connell incident of bribing a player.
Famous O'Connell incident.
William Cox was the Phillies owner, banned and forced
Billy
to sell the team in
Cox.
1943 for betting on baseball. I think it was the first year he owned the team, too.
And
then,
Jonte Porter.
And then Peter Rose, who, quote, bet on baseball.
Peter Rose.
Peter Rose. So there you go. So
I do hate the fact they always do this once so-and-so passes away.
well, they don't always do it because the Black Sox have been passed
it's
away
been
for a
a long
while.
time.
but this is very, and it's not just bad things too. I was always so upset with the Buck O'Neil situation when
Oh, yeah, that was
when you know
awful.
they're going to eventually go into the Hall of Fame, but you wait and you wait and you wait, you always know they're going to be in, and then you wait until they pass away before that's the final. Oh, that's the final push we needed. It's like you know how much that would have meant to Buck O'Neil. That's the one that really gets to me. This is
Right.
obviously a completely different situation, but I know Pete Rose was off-putting. He did himself no favors. It wasn't really like he was pleading or ever was, super apologetic. I mean, if you saw some of his signatures we saw sometime, it was like, P.S. Sorry I bet on baseball, like as a joke. Like like that dude would sign stuff, right? He did himself no favors, but we all know deep down how much it would have meant to Pete Rose to see himself go into the Hall of Fame. We all knew eventually he was going to be there. So I don't know. I guess for me it's a little sad. And I know the family gets, to see the joy of him finally getting put in. But I don't know. That always rubs me the wrong way when it happens after they pass away and they don't get to see themselves honored.
Well, and how
the
long
Buck O'Neil
Manfred
thing was
been
dumb.
commissioner?
Yeah, the Buck O'Neil thing was awful, and
Buck O'Neil one-
that was the voters.
Basically,
the voters did that.
they put that in for Buck O'Neil, and
I
you're
mean,
like,
he was the one that got them in the Hall of Fame.
was it like two white owners that went in
And then they
from the Negro Leagues,
and then they're like,
went in
"Hey, Buck,
with that first year, and he didn't.
You're not in the Hall of Fame, but we want you to be the keynote speaker
Yes.
to then
Yes.
present them in the Hall of Fame." And then he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Of course.
Absolutely." I pulled up the Wikipedia page because I really wanted to learn about Shufflin' Phil Douglas, because again, banned after threatening his manager with a letter.
What was the letter?
Shufflin' Phil.
He threatened him with a letter?
Yeah, he was
With
so
words on
Shufflin'
paper?
Well,
banned
it was a
after
strongly
threatening his
worded
manager.
letter.
Yeah, so he was known as Shufflin' Phil, most likely because of his slow gait from the bullpen to the mound. Oh, so the guy just walked out there like, I guess I'm pitching today. Let's see.
No, they had bullpens back then.
Over waltz.
He went, traded from the Dodgers to the Cubs. Douglas's short stints with these and future teams stemmed from their frustrations with his well-documented alcoholism, about which a contemporary journalist wrote, "Drinking was not a habit with Douglas; it was a disease." In 1919, he was signed by the New York Giants. John McGraw had some luck in keeping Douglas's drinking under control. But Douglas had following the season, the spitball was banned. But 17 players, including Douglas, were allowed to continue using the pitch. Apparently, he threw the spitball. Douglas's best year came in 1921. He won 2 games in the 21 World Series, helped the Giants win the series. 1922 had 11 wins, leading the league. He was suspended after a quarrel with John McGraw and was fined $100. Shortly after he was suspended and while intoxicated, Douglas sent the following letter to Les Mann of the St. Louis Cardinals, quote, "I want to leave here, but I want some inducement. I don't want this guy to win the pennant, and I feel if I stay here, I will win it for him. If you want to send a man over here with the goods, I will leave for home on the next train. I will go down to fishing camp and stay here." The letter found its way to Kennesaw Mountain Landis, who banned Douglas for baseball for life because of the letter. Kennesaw Mountain Landis, you did not, you don't say anything disparaging about baseball. You just got in line or you could never play. Like that guy, good night, man. He was a mountain of a man is really what he was. A Kennesaw Mountain
He was.
is what he
Shufflin'
was.
Phil
Didn't he
didn't
go
have
to
the
Kennesaw
numbers,
State?
though. He didn't have the numbers to get in the Hall of Fame.
No,
It's
no,
only
he's
going to
not
be
a Hall of Fame.
Shoeless and
Yes,
Pete, right?
Shoeless and Pete are the only ones that are getting in, but
Or would have the chance to.
Yeah.
Because you got baseball writers that got to vote him in now, right? Mm-hmm. There's no more
Yeah,
self-righteous group of people
Yes.
than
2028
baseball writers.
Absolutely.
right. And just go ahead and put Bonds and Clemens in.
Well, but then where do you? Steroids is a whole nother situation.
Why?
Football-
Where do you stop?
They will go
What do you
in
mean,
when
where
they
do I stop?
die, guys.
What do you mean-
Easy.
What do you mean, where do you
Well,
stop?
no, they'll be eligible to go in when they die. Then they'll be
Yeah.
able to re-stand on the high horses of
Yeah.
not voting them in.
Yeah, so where do
after
you,
they
what do
die.
you mean, where do you stop? I don't know. Like, what else is, like, if Pete Rose is going to be in, steroid guys can be in.
Well, Shoeless and Pete are very different. Like, Pete was only ever proven guilty of betting on his own team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a manager, right?
Yeah.
Was it ever as
Well,
a player?
the
as a manager,
the
right?
guys taking steroids were only helping their team win.
Right,
So,
but Shoeless
so,
Joe
in theory.
threw games
Allegedly.
for his own
Yeah.
team.
But he
Apparently
also,
he said it
I saw
under
the
duress.
movie, Sterling.
He
It
apparently
happened.
did it under
That's gonna
duress,
be my
though.
movie
Yeah.
today.
He did it under duress.
he also
supposedly.
batted 370, hit the only home run for the White Sox in the series.
And he
And Buck Weaver, widely reported as had no part in this and was not in favor of it, but because he had information that was going on, he was still banned.
Well, and then he came back as a ghost in Iowa.
What?
That's Hall of Fame material right there.
That's a good point. Yeah,
true.
Came out of
He
the
was-
corn.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he would have played for nothing.
He would have had a catch.
You know, I mean, it was riding on trains from town to town, brass platoons in the lobby, brass beds in the room, and it was the crowd rising to their
A lot
feet.
of brass back
I don't know how you remember
Ball
all
was
these
hit
movie
deep.
lines.
Shoot, I'd have played for nothing. You ever take a glove or a ball and put it to your face and just smell it? Man, can you pitch? Yeah, I can pitch. See if you can hit my curve. Yep, you can hit the curve. You can hit the curveball. So yeah, there we go. All right.
You either have a photographic memory with movies or you watch them like 50 times a
I've
piece.
never. Would you believe I've never seen it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Never seen it. Not one time. Not one time. I'm hoping to watch it soon. I've heard it's really good. Don't look it up on Rotten Tomatoes though, because it may be part of my movie thing.
Be mine too.
You know what? Let's all three do
No,
it.
you
do it,
can't
yeah.
all three do it. I did. I called dibs. I called dibs.
On which one? Field
Shotgun.
of Dreams?
Yeah,
Okay.
shotgun.
I got 8 men out then.
Okay, well I'll look that one up. Shotgun. I called it first.
Got to be outside.
Yeah. So Pete Rose only bet on his own team, and those steroid guys were only doing it to help their team win. I feel like it's all the same.
They were also the only guys ever using performance-enhancing
Exactly.
because they tested in the 1930s and 20s and stuff, so they were testing
Yeah,
for all
nobody-
that stuff.
nobody else has
and
ever
baseball
taken-
wasn't testing then.
Right. Nobody else
Oh,
ever
no,
took
that's the-
PEDs.
Well, steroids
That's the
didn't come
sarcasm
around
there.
until the 90s, I don't think.
That's right, I'm sure. Lyle Alzado, tell that to
Yeah,
him.
there wasn't a coffee pot with regular and then greenies inserted into
exactly.
the coffee pots back in the day. That didn't happen at all. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and let's hear about 8 men that are now in. They were out, but they're in now. They were out then, but now in, and a dream that was in a field of all of them, and they had a catch. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810. Happy Felsch. His real name was not Happy.
It was sad.
It was one of those
It was,
ironic nicknames.
No, it was Oscar Emil. Happy Felsch. Yeah. Apparently a dynamite hitter. One of the best hitters in the American League. Had 100 runs batted in 1917. Led the league in assists as a center fielder. He's a great player. Missed all of 1918 because of military service.
I was gonna say the
And
flu.
then in 1919, they win the pennant, and then
He was
he gets
serving in the Great War because they weren't calling it World War I back then.
And
Does there not been World War II?
Kennesaw Mountain Landis did not have like some sort of a soft spot for a man that missed the previous season for, fighting for his country and then returning and playing and then getting a little extra cheese in the World Series. I mean, come on, man. So that's Happy Felsch. We learned about Shufflin' Phil Douglas earlier. We got to learn about Cozy Dolan. We don't. All right, so let's play some Rotten Tomatoes here. And what happens is we give out a movie, and then the rest of us have to guess if what the score is for the tomato meter and the popcorn meter. We usually started with Sterling. Last week we started with Dylan. This week we'll start with Mick.
Sterling. Oh,
Darn it. Mick, do you have both your movies, or are you
do
still
have both
searching?
my movies.
Okay.
we started with Mick last week, actually. I believe.
Did we? Well, I'll start with me then. That's fine. I don't care. I mean, what do you?
yeah. It's time to start with you.
It's time.
call.
It's time to take your diapers off and go to work. It's time, young man.
You're just quoting them right and left, huh?
I need to bring up this one because
Wow, I'm glad he was prepared.
This is one that you guys did not know I was going to do. So,
I don't know any of the ones you were going to do.
okay, so this is a good one. This is a good one. Has nothing to do with anything currently going on. When Iowa farmer Ray hears a mysterious voice one night in his cornfield saying, if you build it, he will come, he feels the need to act despite taunts of lunacy. Ray builds a baseball diamond on his land, supported by his wife, Annie. Afterward, the ghosts of great players start emerging from the crops to play ball, led by shoeless Joe Jackson. But as Ray learns, this field of dreams is about much more than bringing former baseball greats out to play.
Tin Cup.
That Field of Days of Thunder, Field of Dreams. The critics. What did the critics? The cynics. What do you think they did, Sterling?
92%.
92 for you. What about you, Dylan?
Give me 80%.
80% for
Oh,
you.
man. You have
Oh,
to make
man.
it go in the middle.
Got to go in the middle.
Thread the needle.
Thread it.
86.
Mick Schaefer, 88. 88
Wow.
for Mick Schaefer. 1 point.
son of a-
Strategery
Yes,
right there.
son of a Mr. Schaefer and Mrs. Dylan,
Please
you go
call me
now.
Mr. Schaefer. Schaefer. Mick was my dad.
I'll call you Mr. Shaper.
What about the popcorn? What about the fans? What did they think of Field of Dreams? 88 for the critics.
I'll go 94.
94.
Ooh.
Is that, oh boy, I tell you what, man, the whole game is going to write down this question and answer right here, Mick.
92.
92, 94, 92.
90.
That one goes to Sterling, 86.
I got 86, 86. Huh?
I know. That was, if
Wow.
you'd have gone 86 both times, you'd have.
I know.
You'd get 3
I
points
know
out
that
of that
now.
Yeah.
You should have told me earlier.
Well, you're dumb. Sterling, your first movie, what is it?
Oh man. Lifelong friends and now roommates, Zach and Mary are buried under a mountain of debt. When the electricity is turned off, they realize that desperate times call for desperate measures. They decide to make an adult film to raise some cash. Zach and Mary make a porno.
Oh, well, okay.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
that's right. I thought it was
I
Zach
never
and
saw
Mary.
this.
Yeah,
Go
well,
to an
I saw my
old folks'
parents,
You saw it with your parents.
and
Okay.
that came out in
Seriously?
So
How
that's
old were you?
15.
So
worst,
that's how it is in your family.
worst movie
You
could
can't
have
exactly
picked.
walk out and say, we had no idea.
Well, we
It's
did,
in the title.
We realized that
It's in the
now,
title.
but I was like, oh, Seth Rogen, and at the time Elizabeth Banks was very popular. We're like, oh yeah,
she's
this
still
is-
very popular. in
We're
mine.
like, these are fun people. This can't be what it says it's going to be. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
You were surprised by the.
horrifying.
You were surprised
Terrifying.
it was
the
horrifying, or
title
just
of
because you're.
the title of the
family
movie
was there.
actually happened with the movie.
Well, I didn't think it was going to show
Okay.
stuff
Would you
and
think?
things.
Well, the field
A
was
lot
of
of things.
dreams. There were a lot of dreams in the field. it was a
Did you?
field
Were
of
you
dreams.
shocked, like when you saw Titanic? What it was about?
I had no idea.
Yeah, they're on the
boats.
water.
Didn't even know it sank.
Heck?
I was shocked by that.
No, spoilers.
Christmas.
My bad.
Spoilers.
Don't worry. Don't worry. She'll never let him go. She promises.
I
They
didn't
can
know
fit.
Pearl Harbor
Selfish.
was a war movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a beautiful place to go and visit.
Oh, that's about
your wife.
pearls.
Nice.
Like it's a harbor of pearls.
You
You
would
just get to
think-
pick your pearl.
Yeah, well, you were wrong.
Zach
Dylan,
and Mary make a porno.
Dylan, what do you think?
Man, the critics.
Yeah.
How did they not go above 100 on this?
That's
Boy.
what I would guess, though.
You know
I
why?
guess 100%.
Because they were shocked by what it was about, too.
I'll go 40%.
I'll go 50%.
You guys are so stupid. It's right there, 69%. Come on.
Oh,
Oh,
dummies.
Jason wins.
Seriously, that high?
66%.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Almost you said turn one of those sixes around.
66.
All right, so the fans, what do they think there, Mick, the popcorns?
70.
I mean, damn it.
Do it again.
I can't.
Oh, yeah, you can't.
68.
I'll change mine to 71 if you want.
Yes.
71.
69.
Okay.
Damn it. I guess I got to go 67 then.
If you would have stayed, Dylan would have got 266 as well.
Darn it.
So Dylan gets a point.
Oh, if he would have stayed, yeah.
If I'd have
Yeah.
stayed at 68, he'd have gone 66.
Should we give it to him?
Yeah.
No, we shouldn't because you changed and I changed. So we all changed
Are
for
we
the
allowed
better.
to change after somebody else's guess, though?
Because if I can change,
What a horrible
and you
movie,
can
by the way.
change, anybody can change.
I would never know. I'll
I
take
am
your word for it.
shocked that got 66%. I would have
Would you
thought
like
that
it
was
better
6.
if Ma and Pa Holmes weren't there?
Come on, Paul.
Probably. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
You remember every second of it.
I
Dylan.
know they would have liked it if you weren't there.
That's true. Dylan, what's your first movie?
With the courtroom and Missouri legislation theme, I'm going to go A Few Good Men as the first movie for me.
Okay.
A Few Good
Love
Men.
it, love it,
Mick,
love it.
what did the critics say?
Critics liked it. They were big fans, and they went 88.
I'm going to say 91.
They loved this movie, but not that much. 86.
Sterling got it.
I
He
know.
almost had it, though. It was 84.
Oh,
man.
nice.
Sterling still wins. He almost
You're
wins.
gonna-
We're on
Higher.
a heater, boys. I'm not in last place.
All right, so the popcorn, I'll go 92.
89.
Sterling wins.
Oh, stop.
2-pointer.
We're on a heater.
Oh,
So
God. Nobody else reacts like this, Sterling, whenever they hit.
Like-
Somebody hits
Yeah,
every
Mick.
week, and nobody jumps around like
That's
this.
true. Now Mick
Yes.
did.
Every time.
I
Mick,
never move. I'm
Mick,
gonna-
your first.
Yeah, let's go.
Mick, your first movie.
My first move. We're just to my first.
Yeah, I know. We got to get on our horse here.
It is Chicago White Sox who are set to play Reds in the World Series. Yada yada. 8 men out. Here we go. What are you going with the tomato meter?
I think this was. I think it was liked. I don't know how liked. I'm going to go 85, 86.
80 or 77%. 77%.
God, I hope they liked it. I'm now now I'm
79.
all right. I'm already questioning mine, but I'll stay with-
87. You almost got it, Jason.
Wow, and I would have changed mine if I was allowed. Once they went lower, I'm like, I'm gonna go 50. All right, the fans there, Sterling.
79. Are we serious?
Get you.
No
you
way.
cannot move. You cannot move.
Look
I'm
at
going to
his
say
computer-
it.
Look at his computer.
You
screen.
cannot move.
Oh, I thought you were saying look at his computer screen.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna
Yes,
give
you
him-
got it.
give him
Another
two.
one. You have-
All right.
Oh,
You can't,
my
he said you
God.
couldn't move or you lose
can't-
the
yeah,
points.
you got to
I'm
keep
still
your
in the chair.
Keep your helmet on.
If you lose, you move the points.
Sterling wears a helmet.
Yes.
Nobody knows that.
All right, the Chiefs.
excited.
There we go. The Chiefs are playing on Thanksgiving, which I feel like this movie should be played all day on Thanksgiving, like they do Christmas Story, but on Christmas. But easily excitable Neil Page, Steve Martin, somewhat of a control freak, trying to get home to Chicago to spend Thanksgiving with his wife and kids. His flight is rerouted to Hudson City in Kansas because of a freak snowstorm, and his sanity begins to fray. Worse yet, he is forced to bunk up with talkative Dal Griffith, John Candy, whom he finds extremely annoying. Together, they must overcome the sanity of holiday travel
Planes,
to reach their
trains, automobiles. Here we go.
intended destination. Planes, trains, automobiles, tomato meter there, Sterling.
Love this movie. Love this movie.
Yeah, but did the critics?
Yeah, I think they did. I'll go 90%.
Oh, I'll go 70.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Okay, great. Yep, I agree.
73.
93, Sterling.
Dang, they did love it.
Dude, I'm on a heater.
What about the fans, the tomatoes? What do you think, Dylan? What do they like?
Then I'll go 95% for the fans.
I'll go 90 for the fans.
You went, what was that, Dylan?
He went 95.
Shoot. I'll go 97.
87, Mick.
Wow.
87, Mick.
It's like the only Thanksgiving movie out there.
Sterling, I know they should play it all day like they do a Christmas Story. Sterling, your second movie.
Speaking of men, 12 Angry Men.
Oh, 12 of them. All right.
12 Angry Men.
Dylan?
The 1957 movie.
Of course, yeah. Thank you for clarifying. I'll do.
Henry Fonda.
I'll go 90% just because, yeah, critics.
I'll go 80%.
I'll go 85.
Whoever was highest wins. 100%.
Oh my God.
100%.
100% for
That's
12 Angry
dumb.
Men.
There's no way
that
that's a
movie's
perfect
not
movie.
good.
What
Shut up.
about
It's
the
a
fans?
good movie as far as like, but it's not interesting.
It's the only movie in
80,
1958.
88.
91.
Yeah, 95 again.
Dylan wins 97%.
Christmas.
People
Wow.
absolutely love this movie.
I think you're forced to like this movie.
12 Angry Men.
My next movie is Jiminy Christmas. But Dylan, your second movie?
Another courtroom movie, JFK, Back into the Left.
Okay. Critics.
Critics went they went 92.
I think the critics were a little leery of this one. I'm going to say 76.
I will go in the middle with 84.
Oh my God.
Is it 84?
Yep.
Jesus H, what is happening?
You can't move. You're going to lose a point.
He just wins the game at this point.
If you move, you lose a
No,
point.
it's over now.
That was the,
it's
that was the
Vince
critics.
Carter.
So now the fans. So I go first on this one.
Yep.
With the fans.
Yes, sir.
I will go with 88.
Well done, Jason. 2
Man,
points.
we are-
man.
Wow.
We are killing
Damn.
it.
Well,
All right,
some of you are.
Mick, your last one.
So Chiefs are going to South America. I thought of a South
true.
America movie called Alive.
Oh my God! I don't know why that movie made me laugh. Did you watch that one with your parents there, Sterling?
No.
A lot of them are not alive, by the way. Spoiler alert there. Crash in the Andes, which is not in
It's a good point
Brazil.
because he
but,
thought they weren't going to make a porno. This is Alive, and it's not
yes.
about being
See,
alive.
you never knew. We
There
saw
you go.
Alive, and it was the opposite.
That's exactly right.
You, Jason.
Critics, I'm going to say that they liked it at 91%.
79%.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Jason's route, 95%, just because you can't not.
63%.
Wow.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I went to Warner Brothers one time, and now I know movies.
I mean, it's going to be your first win in this whole deal.
That's
but-
exactly
And I
right.
created the game. This is
Yeah.
the first win.
All right, fans for you. Last one, Sterling. We start with you. The fans, the popcorns.
88.
Oh, man. I was actually rooting for you to get this. You did not.
Give me 84.
80.
68.
All right. That'll do it.
You like that.
Sterling with 10. I had 5. Dylan had 3. Mick had 2.
Oh, I thought I just had
You
one.
had 2. There you
Just
go.
Give me one.
So,
give one more, Sterling.
Nice showing from Sterling there. About time. We'll take a timeout, come back, and wrap things up next. Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock will be the show that Sterling and Jack will be hosting. Our schedule release special. Then Westwood 1 will take over from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock with Scott Graham.
Will we
and
know any more
Ross
games?
Tucker. We know of 9 Chiefs games so far. 9 times.
International might get confirmed. There's only been a couple that the Chiefs have confirmed, but they're probably all pretty much right.
Chiefs will play on Christmas. Chiefs will play on Thanksgiving. Chiefs play Friday night to begin the season. Chiefs play the Eagles week 2. Chiefs go to the Giants for Sunday Night Football in week 3. Chiefs go to Jacksonville week 5 for Monday night. Chiefs play the Lions in week 6 on Sunday night. Chiefs play the Bills at 3:25 week 9 on CBS. Chiefs go to Denver in week 11. We don't know anything else after that. Nothing. I know nothing.
Christmas.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
and Thanksgiving. Yeah. Oh, and July 4th.